appreciate it. You should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're gonna get down to the other stuff here in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, before we do anything else, vibe.
JP Productions.
Shout out to JP. Katina Marie, good morning. Sunny Test, this is not a test. You tuned in with the priceless one for real. It's Tuesday, October 10th. Just let the vibe seep in. Yeah. I hope everybody's feeling as good as I'm looking. Yeah, I know.
JP Productions.
Let's just get the vibe in there. I love that vibe. How's everybody doing this morning? Beats by PlUtO Music. My dude.
JP Productions.
What's cracking, cuz? If you haven't smiled yet today, now would be the perfect time to do so. Like right now. And if you can't find a smile for yourself, please allow me to be the smile on your face. Because at the end of the day, all I am is the smile on your face. All I am is the motherfucking vibe. And I love the way you love me. Make sure y'all hit the like button as you come in my bedroom door. And in doing so, understand this is not about ego. Oh no. That is self-sustaining. This is about algorithm. It just helps us expand the platform. That way, if you're not trying to hear what I'm trying to say, at least we can get out to the next motherfucker who is. We're gonna take just a few more minutes to let a few more people trickle in, and then you know the drill. Then we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Where's everybody checking in from in the world today? It's 7:53 in Narnia. Do you know what your motherfucking vibe is? And it is. Yo. North Carolina, it's 9:54. Huh. Now you know. We finna talk about it because we're actually going through one of those shifts energetically. So let me get you right. It's 8:54 in Oklahoma. It's some motherfuckers just leaving the casino. Not me, I'm just living in love, and that's a gamble in itself. Hold up.
Oh yeah, oh boy, this shit banging.
Yeah. We came for the vibe. Sonny Tess, where you from? Beach. I already know where you hail from.
This one.
We're gonna be here for a few hours this morning. I'm gonna get you all the way right. We're gonna go through the transits because it's been a few days and we are experiencing that shift like I was just previously speaking on. We're gonna elaborate on the aspects. And then the floor will be open. The moon is in Virgo. So I am at your service. Now, we're about 2 minutes from getting started. So do whatever you need to do, get it out the way. Put some flame to that motherfucker if you fuck around. Also, share this video on whatever social media platform you fuck with or whatever groups that deal with astrology that you are a part of. Would y'all still love me if I told y'all I was just sitting here in my hat and my shirt and my jacket with no drawers or pants or anything on the bottom? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But for real though, anything is possible. Yeah. Now I'm all the way maxed out. I do have on Cookie Monster socks, but I always express my Pisces moon self through my socks. Funny that it comes out in the feet. That has like that Brent Fayez type vibe to it right there, don't it? Some of y'all don't know who that is, but I'm an R&B guy. Now, oh, there's the vibe. Now let's talk about what we got going on cosmically, because I believe that's the perfect segue. Right there. Now, and I do. The sun. The sun is sitting at 17 degrees of Libra. And that's harmonious and beautiful and all that shit. Or at least that's what we need. But you got to figure out what that means for you personally. That means different things for different people. World peace is not possible, especially at this moment. That trigger has been popped. I've been warning y'all for a couple of years now that this is what we were coming to. I'm not trying to scare everybody, but if you think this conflict stops with Israel and Hamas or Ukraine and Russia, it's not gonna go down like that. This is the start of something. Now, we're not gonna get into that. But what we do need to understand is the sun at 17 degrees of Libra is sitting exactly opposite to Chiron at 17 degrees of Aries. So you got to look at where this axis sits for you. Personally, for me, this is going to be right on my ascendant and my descendant. The sun is on my ascendant. Chiron is on my descendant. So for me to live my most harmonious life, for me to have better, clearer, and more honest relationships, is really going to take me holding myself accountable and me making sure that I'm being straight up about the way that I'm handling everything. And I also need to pay attention to fear. The way that I let fear bother me and control me in certain situations. Now, what does that mean for you? Where do you need to hold yourself accountable so that you can live a more harmonious experience for yourself? You think about that, because that's for you. Sometimes for you to have better relationships, it really just starts with you being a better person. Or even if that's not the case, it starts with you stop allowing bullshit. It goes both ways. Hey, I know you thought that shit was cool. That shit don't fly with me no more. Sorry for you. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the moon, because the moon has a lot going on over the next few hours. So I would say throughout the rest of the morning for us here in America, and for those of y'all in Europe, throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening, we got some interesting energy going on. See, the moon is conjunct to Venus and Lilith, both. Sextile to Mars and opposite to Saturn. And the moon moves quickly, but this is going to be something that goes over a process over the next, like I said, 6-7 hours. So, let's look at it like this. With the moon conjunct to Venus and Lilith in Virgo, who are conjunct to each other, you're going to have to be careful. Because although you're going to be there and dependable whenever you need be, that overthinking, that overanalyzation, that hypercriticism could make some issues in our relationships, in our dealings with other people. Our perfectionist sense could make it hard for us to get started on projects today, this morning. And it's not because you're scared, it's because you're a perfectionist and you're compulsive. And you fear being judged by other people as inadequate. So you grind. You grind. And the thing is, you could also spend too much time grinding your gears. You could spend too much time up here. And sometimes that's great. Hey, I'm never one to hate on anybody that has the need to ruminate. But let me also tell you that overanalyzation can be crippling. And when you have all of this Virgo energy, that can do it. And there's a lot of nervousness. The nervousness can lead to the overanalyzation. There's a lot of frenetic energy. That's why people's guts be triggered with the moon in Virgo. Now, we have a whole badass Virgo stellium. The moon, Venus, Lilith, bam. Now, Lilith doesn't count in the stellium, really. What we got with this Virgo? No, we don't have a Virgo stellium. We just got Virgo, Venus, in the moon. Excuse me. I started looking at everything. I could see the chart right here, and I'm like, what the fuck? No, there's not a stellium. Don't get me the Sue Moon, where you been? Hold up. Now let me put my jacket back on. I wish I had another jacket so I could switch like Mr. Rogers. No. I definitely understand. Now, back to where I was with it. This Virgo energy. This Virgo energy can be highly efficient. It can really help you get a lot done. But it can also fuck you up in its own way. That nervousness, that overthinking, that anxiety, that motherfucking paranoia that can come with Virgo energy. Oh, it's a motherfucker. And then also, we're going to talk about Mars here in a second, but Mars is at that 29th degree of Libra, and Mars is about to go into Scorpio. And Mars rules Scorpio, and Mars is powerful in Scorpio, but that can be a motherfucker in its own right. All right. Which we'll talk about that in a second. Now, with the moon sextile to Mars, we can be glad that this is Libra energy and not Scorpio yet. We won't see that for a while, until probably in a couple weeks. But what we do see with this is, once again, this is the Virgo moon and Lilith, right? And Venus triggering Mars at 29 degrees of Libra. So overthinking. Not enough action. Overthinking causes frustration, but it can also help you make the right decision. You also can be on point more than you've ever been. You also will be able to be obstinate and do things that are for the best, separate from your desires personally. Now, when it gets to Scorpio, if this was Scorpio, if it was just tomorrow and we were dealing with this would be about hyper focus, and you want something so bad and you want to do something, that hyper focus, and that shit right there just creates this this aggravation and this annoyance, which it can make you very, very, very sharp, but it could also be taken overboard and it can lead to all types of issues. Really potential craziness in its own way. Excuse me. Now, with Venus opposite to Saturn, that right there also is fears and anxieties, you know, those feelings and emotions and the stuff you don't want to deal with really starts to fuck with you. It can fuck with your health. It can fuck up your process. Don't do that to yourself, beans. Nah, don't do it. Bitch, I said don't do it. Excuse me. Jason Strong, what's up? You have to excuse me. For me, bitches are term and endearment. I call all my friends bitches. Now, I need a few more people to hit the like button before I get mad and go home. I'm gonna take my fucking knowledge and leave. Now, I ain't going nowhere. Shit. But let's talk about Mercury, all right? Mercury is now sitting at 10 degrees of Libra. And that right there is like, it's funny because people are communicative. People are kind of business minded. But when it comes to communication, people are looking for the right emphasis, the right inflection. They want perfection in the way that they're saying things. This is where you could see some sugarcoating. That's the truth. That's the truth. But when it comes to us personally, and when it comes to us dealing with Mercury and Libra from a mental standpoint, let's just make sure that we're really thinking things through for ourselves. That we're not just agreeing for the effect. That's the only thing you got to worry about with Mercury and Libra, is make sure you're thinking for yourself. I understand objectivity and fair-mindedness, but also make sure that you're thinking for yourself and you're not being influenced by what anybody else has going on or what you think someone else might think about what you have going on. You heard me? Now, Mercury's not really making any major aspects quite yet. It's loosely conjunct with the sun. But we're not talking about Kazemi. So, I mean, it's 7-degree orb. So we're not even going to speak on that. Now, speaking of the darkness, Mars is now sitting at 29 degrees of Libra. So that means tomorrow night, Mars will enter Scorpio. We'll enter the darkness, the nastiness, the creep, as I like to call it. But right here, at the 29th degree of Libra, everything's out in the open. That doesn't mean it's real. Understand that. Everything's out in the open, but that doesn't mean it's real. So, this right here is like this evolution of energy. It's like people been settling. Not just compromising, but settling when it comes to the things that they want over the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks. First, with Virgo, or even before that, so let's say 13 weeks. With Virgo, when Mars was in Virgo, it's about service and working and grinding and being productive, being helpful and useful. In Libra, it's compromising and reactive energy, and it's about being a team player and all that bullshit, right? Which can frustrate the self individually, because it's like, when do you ever get to what you want? But now, as Mars comes into Scorpio in a couple of days, or really tomorrow night, which we'll talk about that more in depth, but as Mars goes from this right here, it's like you start to feel this is the 29th degree of Libra. There's a very reactive energy because you feel yourself settling. You feel yourself giving in a lot. And it creates this desire. It creates this indomitable desire as Mars shifts into Scorpio, and we go through this energetic shift to where, no, I want that. And I ain't settling for nothing else but that. Whatever it is. Yeah. Mars comes into a conjunction with my PlUtO. It really is already conjunct my PlUtO. Now, I skipped Venus for a reason, because we kind of already talked about Venus when we were talking about the moon, but I want to go back to Venus, because Venus is now at 1 degree of Virgo in its own way. And I do things the way I want to do it. Anyway. And plus, I'm trying to gloss over the fact that I accidentally forgot Venus and went straight to Mars, from Mercury to Mars. So let's go to Venus, all right? I skipped Venus on accident. I had to keep it real with y'all. I tried to lie and clean it up, but I had to keep it real with y'all. I skipped Venus on accident. So let me go back to Venus. Venus, they're my shit. Venus is sitting at 1 degree of Virgo. And Venus falls in Virgo, because this is not a very affectionate energy. Oh no, not in the slightest bit. No. But it is dependable. It will do what it can to help. It is there when you need it. See, when Venus is in Virgo, us as a people might feel a certain sense of duty towards other people. Not the same as Capricorn, but it's like, hey, if somebody needs my help, I'm going to help. I might complain about it. I might not even like them individually, but I'm going to help. I'm going to be there because this is what I do. This is what I need to do. This is what's the best for the situation. But when it comes to our love nature, we can overanalyze those situations with people. we can start to withdraw ourselves a little bit, be a little bit colder than usual. Even more than thinking about how to love, we can start thinking about what love means to us. Now, the problem is as I tell y'all about Venus in Virgo, with Venus in Virgo, people get so caught up in what people are doing that people forget who people are. I never even thought to consider your feelings or who you are. I was so caught up in what you were able to do for me. Because you've always done it. So are you going to complain or are you going to run it? Yeah. You think I can borrow something? Let me tell you something. Venus in Virgo is very picky, nitpicky. But Venus in Virgo is there. I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the energy. Yeah. It's there. It's like I'm here for you, but I'm not with you. We're like Venus and Pisces, like I'm with you no matter what. Think about it. Now, Venus is conjunct to the black moon Lilith and opposite to Saturn. So our own fears, our own doubts, our own criticisms of ourselves and the people we're involved with can really put a hamper on our relationships right now. People can lose faith in love. It's like, this shit right here is tough. It ain't worth it. I don't want to work it. Yeah. But what can we do? What can we do? What we can do is deal with the feeling. Because if we can deal with the feelings inside of ourselves and get over our insecurities, we can really build something that lasts for real. You know, that stuff that dreams are made of. But you can't lose faith. You just got to keep it real about the situation. You can't have unrealistic expectations about the people you're involved with or about what a relationship can do for you personally. See, that's where a lot of people fuck up. They think getting into, this is Libra season, so I'm gonna get into this. They think getting into a new relationship or getting involved with somebody or getting back into, they think that's gonna help them out. Nah, because you haven't dealt with the shit that you have going on inside of yourself. So this is gonna be an endless cycle. Even if it's a new person you're involved with, you're bringing that same issue into this bullshit right here. So you got to deal with the feelings in order to have something real. But hey, what do I know? And I need about 5 more people to smile right fucking now. If you ain't smiling, fuck you. Fuck you with a one-eyed Willie slapper. And let me light my blunt because y'all starting to trigger me. Plus this Virgo moon might be triggering my stomach. Now, let's talk about Jupiter. Because Jupiter is now at 13 degrees of Taurus. And Jupiter's retrograde until December 31st. So throughout the rest of the year. New Year's Day will be direct. So, this goes one of two ways. Either it's going to be harder for people to keep calm and stay patient, or people going to be too patient and lazy and end up stuck. Which end of the spectrum you going to fall on? Either people going to be overcharging for bullshit that ain't really worth it, or people ain't going to be wanting to pay for this shit that they really need. I don't think you hear me though. With Jupiter retrograde in Taurus, that laziness, it's gonna be an issue for you. That stubbornness, it can make you miss your blessings. See, the blessings are out there. Jupiter is still Jupiter. It's blessings out there. But you can miss the mark. You can end up running your motherfucking battery out sitting too long in park. You was idle, now you in an Uber. Hold up. Yeah. Now, Saturn is sitting at 1 degrees of Pisces. Saturn is retrograde until November 4th. So we're coming to the end of this Saturn retrograde journey. Saturn will hit 0 degrees. And then we're going to deal with this whole Saturn in Pisces journey again. All right? See, for those of us that started this Saturn in Pisces journey last year, last March, this is where we've dealt with that initial ooh-wah. We've dealt with the retrograde. Now, this is where it gets real. It's funny that this is Pisces, but this is where it gets real. For those of you that have anything between 0, or really you could say 3 degrees of Aquarius, 27 degrees, I said 3 degrees, 27 degrees of Aquarius all the way till 10 degrees of Pisces. With that stuff, Saturn has came through conjuncting those people that have their Saturn return in there, and those people that have their moon in there, and their sun in there, those people like myself that have so much being aspected within those degree ranges. Okay, you gotta bring it back. Thank you, baby. Within those degree ranges, the shit you've been dealing with is not over with. Even if you feeling a little bit better about it right now, it's not over with. This right here is where you really gonna have to grind it out. This is where you really gonna have to face it. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Just like I tell y'all sometimes that there ain't no purpose to a lot of shit. For some people, you're not gonna get some humongous blessing on the other end of this Saturn thing you've been going through. What you get is growth. That's what your ass get, maturity. Emotional maturity. This is Pisces. Whatever you're going through, it's about bringing you emotional security and maturity. That means dealing with insecurities, fears, doubts, worries, delusions, fucking yourself up, stressing about shit you can't control, all of that shit. You got to deal with that. I need like 14 more people to hit the like button for me though. Y'all forget I'm a Cancer with Leo placements. I'll throw a temper tantrum in this bitch and knock everything over. Just let that vibe hit you though. Now, let's move past that right there, because I forgot to tell y'all that Mars is trying to Saturn. I just thought about that. Now that I'm thinking about Saturn, and before I go to Uranus, Mars is trying to Saturn. So it's going to be a little bit harder to get things done. The way you feel, that feeling of mistrust, it can hamper you down. And there can also be this feeling of wanting something so bad, but having a fear of what you're going to do when you get it. Or having a fear that's keeping you from going after what it is you want so bad. There's Mars trying to Saturn. And eventually you will. Eventually you will. And that makes it all more worth it to you. That's the trying. Don't whine. Stimulate your mind. Put some motherfucking stiffness in your spine. Stop being a bitch. And when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to me. You hear me? I like it. Because this is like a power up for me. Mars comes into a trine with my sun, and a trine with with my moon, a conjunction with my Pluto, a sextile with Neptune. I needed this. Yeah. Just don't do it. I'm feeling pretty damn good today. I don't know how y'all feel, but I'm blessed, baby. I got my chain on backwards though. Hold on. Now, that brings us to Uranus. Uranus is retrograde, 22 degrees of Taurus. So, hey. First of all, you need to use this time right now, as I've told you over and over again, to take personal inventory of what you have to work with moving forward. I'm not just talking about materially with this being in Taurus. I'm also talking about your personal value system. Who are you and what are you willing to do? Ultimately, I guarantee that's changed over the last 5 years. Almost guarantee it. Because of the way that the world works, people's value systems have changed big time over the last 5 years. And really over the last 10, 15, 20 years, but I'm talking about over the last 5 years, the way that business works has changed. The way that society moves has changed. So, political values, societal values, personal values, spiritual values, I guarantee that's changed for a lot of people big time. So you need to see who you are and see where you are. That way you have a more secure position moving forward. No matter what happens in life, you are solid in who you are and where you are. Sometimes you can't help what's going on with the world and the way that things work. When you being stubborn as far as your mindset go, makes everything that happens externally end up being a devastating experience for you. But if you can get into a stable place up here and you can secure yourself in your own skin, that means all that stuff that's going on externally ain't gonna knock you off your note. You can still function. But when you're stuck in the way things used to be, or stuck in the way things are, or you're stuck in a stupid ass mindset and resentment or whatever the fuck it is, everything that happens fucks you up. When you don't want to change the way you do business, then guess what? You're gonna end up losing your business. If you don't change the way that you deal with people, then you're gonna end up burning a lot of motherfucking bridges. I don't care what your personal opinion is about other people's lifestyle. And at the same time, that's something you need to deal with inside of yourself. Because you just make things harder for yourself. You make your whole experience chaotic by being stubborn and stupid. So you need to check who the fuck you are and what the fuck you got to work with moving forward. You might not be able to get comfortable, but you can be stable. I don't think you heard me though. Now Neptune. Neptune is sitting at a retrograde 25 degrees of Pisces. And that's going to be retrograde until December 4th. So we're about 6 weeks out. It's crazy to think we're 6 weeks from December. 2023 went by. Like, these years are going by faster. And I'm getting older, that shit's starting to piss me off. Shit. Starting to piss me the fuck off. Slow the fuck down. Now, it's crazy to think that shit. We have 10 weeks left. Really? No, we got 3 months? No. Yeah, we got 10 weeks left in the year. Less than that. About 10 weeks left in the whole year. This shit's a trip. And man, with Uranus sitting at 25 degrees of Pisces, that means Uranus is sextile to Neptune. So, this right here is the culture. The culture influencing people's need for freedom and people's need to be unique. See, this right here, people start to see the way that shit is. People start to see the way that the world is. Like, this shit is fucked up. See, Neptune's retrograde. Like, man, these people are like, it's fucked up. And see, this affects your values, your faith and your values. This Pisces and Taurus. Your faith and your values. Think about it. What's up? Shalom. Or should I say shalom me or shalom me? I don't know what the pronunciation is, but you are a key member of the fucking tribal council. Yeah, you. Now, anyway, with Uranus sextile out of Neptune, and that being Pisces and Taurus, you start to see people start to look at the way that the world is, look at the way that the culture is, and it fucks them up. It shakes their values. The same way the culture influences everybody. It's like the way that the culture is now, everybody is a brand. Everybody's trying to make $1 off everything. Just scroll through Facebook. Go click on 10 of your friends' profiles. 8 of your friends' profiles that you know are not digital creators are going to say digital creator. They have monetized themselves. Now they can't just be themselves. They have to share memes. They have to keep regurgitating the same bullshit because they're not real content creators, most of them. So they have to keep sharing and keep, and that gets them to make a little bit of money off a little something. Every now and then they share a status of their own, but what they really get paid for is sharing things that are popular and things that are trending. Keeping the culture going. We'll pay you to feed the facade. Uranus sextile to Neptune retrograde. We'll pay you to feed the facade. There's Taurus and Pisces. No, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. We'll pay you. You don't believe that? It's okay, we'll pay you. Oh, you at war? We ain't gonna come help you be at war because we don't want anybody to think that we're really riding with you, but what we'll do is supply you with weapons. We'll fund your war. Uranus sextile to Neptune. That's what it goes. That's where it goes. Like, oh, you're at war. We don't want to directly involve ourselves and lose soldiers. So what we'll do is contribute to the loss of life between both of you. We'll feed you. We'll pay for your weapons, and we'll give you more powerful weapons, and we'll fund your war. We'll increase the devastation while we look on. The more you're devastated, the more you need us financially. I don't think people hear it though. The more you're devastated, the more you need us financially. Now we control you in a way. And we just need your money because we owe people. We owe people. I don't think y'all hear me though. It's a game. Now, Neptune is sextile to Pluto. And Pluto is sitting at 27 degrees of Capricorn, and Pluto goes direct today. Now, it's ironic that as Pluto stationed, we started going through this little thing. Now, here's what's interesting. Hamas is not a country when it comes to Israel and their conflict. Hamas is not a country. Hamas is a militant group. Which could trigger other militant groups to attack the central government. They are attacking the government of Israel, taking their political figures, some Americans, and the soldiers. They're attacking them and taking them hostage. It's a direct attack on the authority. A sneak attack when Mars was square to Pluto, which I told y'all about that. I've been telling y'all about that for weeks. Hey, there's some sneaky shit going on behind the scenes. Didn't I tell y'all that with Mars square to Pluto? For y'all here on the channel, haven't I been saying that shit? That, hey man, with Mars square to Pluto, it's gonna be some sneaky shit going on behind the scenes. And here we are. Now, the thing is with this, is us as Americans, not only do we feel compassion for Israel, but we also do not want to be involved in that. Don't get it twisted. Americans are terrified of a war. Americans are terrified of a war because Americans feel like if America gets into a direct conflict with anyone in the Middle East, it triggers North Korea and China. Which probably, I mean, you see the writing on the wall on several fronts. If the United States gets involved with something, then Britain and France are going to get involved. That's automatic. And Japan possibly, but Japan is a small country. Now, on the other end of that, Iran, you're right, Iran, North Korea, Russia, China, who already have openly traded with each other and let it be known, hey, this is how we dealing. They do their thing. Now, here's the problem. I'm not trying to set up the stage because eventually this is how it plays out. But before we set up that stage, what you first have to understand is with Pluto going direct, the people of America start to pay attention to what the government is going to do in these situations. You can talk about your country, but it's the same thing because these major world powers trigger other things that go on here. And so the smaller countries or the countries that are surrounding them are going to be either involved or influenced. And so us as a people feel that compassion, but we don't want direct involvement. So when the government starts to do certain things, there's mistrust, which is already an election coming up. So as we go for the next month or two through these degrees, these last 3 degrees again of Pluto through Capricorn, like I said, that discontent starts to build up. And not just with your government, but with the way things are going in the world, but with the powers that be. And then you force this radical change. Because I'm telling you now, you should know as Americans, Donald Trump is going to be the next president of America again. Joe Biden, whether you like him or hate him, good thing is he's not going to be president again. That's not going to happen again. So, hey, that doesn't mean he comes in, but he has a whole different mindset and approach to things. Because he's not political. He's radical. You see where we shift from Capricorn to Aquarius? It's not political, it's radical. This is something else again. Y'all try to lock me up. Y'all try to do shit to me this time. And I still won a fucking election. You think I'm not coming in strong? You got me fucked up. Dandy Don. He coming through. He coming through. And it's a powder keg. There's going to be some radical changes going on in the world. And we're coming into some radical times. It doesn't mean that we're going to come into a world war immediately. But we're coming into radical times. Now, I've told y'all before that I have studied all different religions. When I was young, I grew up Christian. But now I just practice my own set spiritual standard. I have my own spiritual value system and spiritual principles that I follow. But with everything that's happened over the last few years, and then this, that motherfucking Bible, I try not to think about that because I try to look beyond that. But that motherfucking book of Revelation, and I'm not. Like I said, I am not. Religious at all. I don't know if I believe everything I've read. And I've read the Bible from cover to cover, which you're not supposed to do that, but I've read it also in other different ways. You understand? I spent a lot of time in prison. I've read the Holy Quran several times. I've read A Course in Miracles. I've studied the Law of One, which is really what I do. If I do have a spiritual belief system, it probably follows the Law of One that was set out by Ra. And you have to go study that for yourself, for those of y'all that haven't. But I've told you about it several times. But, man, it started a few years ago. And just something inside of me started like, man, paying attention, like, damn, like this shit is really following that fucking biblical course, man. Like this shit is crazy. Not with the Antichrist and all of that shit, but the course of pandemics and events and the stuff going on in that area, the way that people are as a whole. The way that people are as a whole, it's a trip. That doesn't mean that that's what it is, but it just made me pay attention to it personally. The last few years, I've been like, man, this shit is a trip right here. Like, are you watching this shit? And I know. I'm telling you, I was a child because of the way that I was. I sat and read the book of Revelation in the bathroom when I was 8 years old, and I just cried. I was so fucking scared. That was the most terrifying thing I had ever read in my fucking life. It really traumatized me. I used to have nightmares on the regular, recurring nightmares, that my family was either disappeared and I woke up and everybody was gone and they had been raptured, or that they were floating away and I was in a rapture and I was jumping up and trying to catch my family and jumping up like, man, y'all don't leave me. And they're like, hey, your little bad ass is stuck. Your ass is staying. And I was like, no. Like, I used to really have nightmares that I was left behind and shit. Like, I'm not saying that's what's going on, definitely. I would never say that. I just said that that's something that's piquing my interest right now. That's something worth paying attention to. Now, which brings me back to the Law of One. The Law of One is everything. If you have not studied the Law of One, I implore you to do so. Go watch the series of videos here on YouTube after this live by Aaron Abke. Watch them in order, and he will explain them to you. Or go read them. But it's just, if you're not really just able to focus really hard, that shit's gonna be really hard to read. The terminology is extremely terse. Like, for real. It is extremely terse. It's like a PhD level dissertation in metaphysics. It tells you what the world is and how the world works. It breaks down everything from the beginning of time. And as I've told y'all about the law of one before, hold on. I need to turn this back up. Let me get this. Not Osiris. Osiris has nothing to. This is just Ra, and it's something that it has nothing to do with Egypt at all. The law of one does at all. They mention it what happened in Egypt, but it's not. That's not what it's about. The name Ra gets mixed. You know, that's so tied into so many things. Ra means a lot. Ra is a vibration. It's not even a name. But yeah, Ra is a motherfucker on there. But after experiencing the law of one, because the law of one is not something you read. You can study it, but you also experience the law of one. After experiencing the law of one, what you get is a confirmation. It's not an epiphany. It's not a revelation like, oh my God, that just blew my mind. That's not what you get with the law of one. When you get done experiencing the law of one or studying the law of one or when you understand it, you just realize that you already knew that. You realize that you already knew it. You realize, like, all of a sudden you realize, man, I already knew all this shit. But it confirms something inside of you spiritually. It doesn't take away from anything you've ever learned spiritually. Whether you're Christian, Buddhist, Taoist, whether you're following the Hindu way, whether you're Muslim, none of that shit. It won't take away from that belief system in any way, form, or fashion, which is crazy. It won't take away from it. It explains it. It confirms it for you in a way. You realize it's a trip. And in a way, it's sobering. It's sobering. But yes, the law of one. And before you go into what everything that's entailed in the law of one just really is formulated that us all, and it's what we would have to be. We all derive from one original thought or one original idea or one original love. You would have to for think about it like this, and you can go look at everything, and there's a whole 723 videos that breaks down existence, but just think about it like this. This is why you know something inside of you, there has to be more. There's that dogmatic feeling inside of us that there's something bigger or more, because for something to move, something had to push it. For there to be a big bang even, nothing from nothing makes nothing. Something had to set off that process. Something had to dip its finger in that primordial soup per se and swirl it around so things start moving and making and doing and So something had to happen. It wasn't all of a sudden, boom, and there's this. And even if there was boom and there's this, something had to hit the switch. Something had to snap his finger. Something had to make it boom. Right? So an original process, an original idea, original thought, just one singularity, whatever they call it. That right there, love. And this all is a part of that experience. No matter what it is, really. No matter what you believe, no matter what it is, it's a part of that experience. It's a part of that originality. Whether it be a thought, a love, an idea, an expression, a desire, a fantasy. Just go watch it. It's definitely worth a watch. It breaks it down, the densities, not the dimensions. Now, some people are going to confuse densities and dimensions, which it would seem like they're similar, but densities. Densities of matter or densities of energy. We are, of course, in the third or fourth density. Physical density. Conscious physical density. Mobile conscious physical density, because there are other forms. So it's not only going to break down spiritual understanding, but it also breaks down metaphysics. I'm talking about in a PhD level. Like, the law of one is a bad motherfucker. And it comes from a channeled session that happened in the 70s. These three people are the scribe, and these two channels were doing love magic and searching and, you know, doing all of that entails. And they were brought Ra, or Ra found them. And as they continued to make love and do this magic, this woman spoke these words, and the scribe took them down. All of this process over days and days and days. And what you get is something extremely profound. Something that, no matter what it is, it makes you say, like, well, now this makes sense. That's the problem. That's why you can't dismiss it for what it was, or whatever the session was that they had, or these people, or you have to separate the message from the messenger. Because once you hear the law of one, it's like, oh shit, that shit I already knew. That shit makes sense. Like, how would they, like, there's no way anybody could have made that up, because that's what it is. It's like, that's what you get. Like, there's no way they're lying. There's no way they could have made that up. It's like, because that's what it is. That's what the world, that's what life is. I already knew that. So you can't, it erases doubt from the equation in a very weird way. And I need that, because my Saturn is in Sagittarius. I've struggled with faith my whole life. So when they can take doubt from the equation, and something for me makes sense, that's big. Because I read the Bible my whole life growing up. Like I said, I read the Holy Quran. I've read many spiritual books. And a lot of the time, shit didn't make sense. And that's when people say, well, that's where faith comes in. But I'm like, man, this has nothing to do with faith. When you consider the fact that at the beginning of the Bible, Adam and Eve, regardless of where they came from, and there's several different stories at the beginning. It tells two different stories of man and woman. That, I guess that's where Lilith comes in. But it tells two different stories really at Genesis as far as the beginning of man. And then afterwards, it says Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel. Before Seth and everybody else who was also their child, Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel. Well, ultimately, we know Cain killed Abel. But here's where I got confused, or where I got suspicious. When Cain killed Abel, he tried to hide from the Lord, but of course it's the Lord or God or whatever, the angel of the Lord, which would, in a lot of the times, it's not the omnipotence that God is in Genesis. People need to understand that. When you really break it down, they're speaking on a presence called the angel of the Lord. Which that means different things to different people. No one can clarify. It could mean that it's an embodiment of actual God in a way that it's where it's moving and, or it is a representative of that energy in its own way. And so he encounters Cain, and he marks Cain. And the reason why he marks Cain is because Cain is afraid that somebody's going to kill him because he killed his brother. And he cast Cain out of Eden away from his family and said, you're cursed to wander the earth, and you're forever marked. Anyone who comes upon you will see that mark, but anyone who comes upon you will never harm you because of that mark also. Who is the rest of the people? That's what I can never. Who is the rest of the people? Who is he afraid of? It's just Cain, Abel, Adam, and Eve. Who the fuck else would kill him? We talking about Adam and Eve? Why would they if he's being cast out? And so there would be little things like that where I would be like, okay, now that has nothing to do with faith. But then as I grew and I studied things as I aged, you come to find out the Holy Bible that you're reading now, depending on what version it is not the original book in any way, form, or fashion. And the original book that was printed was not even the original book. So much has been taken out. So much has been added in. It's been translated over maybe 30 different languages over thousands of years. And a story that you tell around a room can't even make it back to the person the same way it was when it left the person that it initially started with. If I tell you something and you tell Tina Claire Marie, and Tina Claire Marie tells Ebony, and Ebony tells Earthshaker, and Earthshaker tells Shalomi, and Shalomi tells Remy Rains, and Remy Rains tells 13 Moon Lily, and 13 Moon Lily tells Watkins Cat House, and so on and so forth. By the time it gets back to me, that's just going to be a completely different story. So before these biblical stories even touched paper, they were passed on from generation to generation over and over and over again. Well, my thing about that is Paul Bunyan, he was a regular person before the story got swept around, and all of a sudden he had a big blue ox that was bigger than houses, and and John Henry was a machine, and Pecos Bill was a motherfucking a bad mother. Like, no, those were regular people. They might have had a great impact, and so their legend grew, but those were regular people. Over the last 200 years, 170 years, People have made Abraham Lincoln in the United States some freedom fighter. Who was all about freeing the slaves and helping black people. That's not what Abraham Lincoln was. That's not Abraham Lincoln. Those were political moves he was pulling. His agenda was not to free the slaves and bring equality to black people. He did not believe in equality for black people and Caucasian people. That's not what he believed. That's the truth. But over time, that legend has grew. So when you think about that, and you learn that, and then also understand the translations. When just from English to Spanish, there's a word that can have several different ways that it's translated. Several different ways that it's translated, and several different ways that it means different things, depending on who's saying it, how they're saying it, where they're saying it, and what they're saying it with. So when you see something that's been translated from ancient language, whatever that was, to Egyptian, to Aramaic, to Hebrew, to Greek, to Roman, to Latin, to Old English, Spanish, French, German, all those things, it gets translated. And each time that's translated, all it takes is one human mistake. And these are humans doing the translating. This is not the divine. This was not a person sitting down and God sitting with them and saying, that's what people forget about when they think about. They said the Bible is God's word. But that wasn't one person sitting down and having an epiphany and writing the whole Bible and God telling them this is what you need to say. This is several different stories derived over time, formulating this book. It's a compilation. It's the ultimate compilation. Pardon me, I didn't mean to kick the camera. It's the ultimate compilation. And when something is included or something is left out of a compilation, it's because of the agenda. Either it doesn't fit in with what the book is trying to say or accomplish, or what the stories weren't good enough. So there's also that. Now, this is not to take away your faith in God. It's to make you understand why I struggle with faith myself. You understand? I used to read and read and read and read. And I remember when I was in jail and I was getting ready to go to prison, I would just, a lot of times I just wanted company, but I would call pastors of different churches to come visit me in the jail. And when the pastors would come visit me, I would argue with them about religion, and I would spend the whole time just questioning the shit they were saying, and just because a lot of it didn't make sense. For instance, what's the difference in a delusion and a fantasy and a vision? How were these people able to differentiate between a regular dream, which we all have every night, and a prophetic vision? I don't know how many times I woke up from a dream and said, damn, that shit was real. So you have to wonder that. You have to also wonder who was a prophet and who was a heretic. a lot of the people who were prophets then, we would dismiss as being psychotic now. A lot of the people that are being called crazy now are actually tuned in at a whole different level, and we don't even pay attention that they are trying to help us. We're too busy trying to control them. All of this is not to fuck you up, it's to make you think. It's to explain why I am who I am and why I struggle with what I struggle with. You feel me? Faith is hard for me. That's why knowledge is everything. Now, what's funny is I'm very intuitive. There's so much I get that I know that I don't know how I know. And I should question that. But how can I? That's what's crazy. There's so much that I know that I can't explain how I know it, but I've always known it and I always will know. And there's so much more that I know that I don't even realize I know. Maybe it's because I'm an old soul. Maybe it's just because I'm intuitive. Shit can be a trip, though. For real. Let me fix this. It's just, when it comes to all of those spiritual practices and understanding, I can't believe everything. And so, also understand my grandfather was the pastor of the church, and I've told y'all this before. So from a very early age, I saw the business of religion. My grandfather was the pastor of the Pentecostal church, the Kojic, the Church of God in Christ. They whooping and hollering, and that's my grandfather, black. My papa, as I called him then. Now, my mother's side of the family, they are Episcopal, white Episcopal. When you go to church, you're there for 45 minutes. You go to, there's acolytes. It's very, very ritualistic. They come in with, I was an acolyte in the church where you wear a robe and you carry a candle, or you carry a torch, or you carry a flag, or you just, you precede the rector, which is the pastor or the preacher of that church. And so that's kind of what you do with them is you go in, you go through the rituals, just like Catholic Mass. Catholic Mass, it's not really about going and hearing the sermon, because the sermon is just a quick little reading session. It's not like at the Pentecostal churches where everything is like a show. Everything is centered around when the pastor takes center stage. So you're going to sing and holler and get everybody worked up and get this vibe going, and then he's going to hit you with this message that you feel. And I'm not saying one is right or wrong, where the other one it's a ritual. This, they're working up energy. It's magic in its own way. You're in that church, you're working up energy, and they're feeding off people's energy. There's a belief. This way, over here, it's a quiet ritual. Stoic power. You feel me? And so, from my perception, I saw right off the rip, going to both churches, that it's just a business, especially with my grandfather being the pastor of the church and me seeing how he moved and seeing how the church moved. It doesn't mean my grandfather was a good pastor, because he wasn't. It doesn't mean all pastors are like my grandfather. It just means I saw the business of the church. I saw how it operates. I saw how they needed to operate, and a lot of people will never understand that. How they feed off people's beliefs. They need you to believe this bullshit because they need you to give that money. And it's not that they don't believe themselves, but a lot of times the pastor is the least faithful person in the church. He has to be real. He sells you a dream. But man, it's the business of it. The business is a motherfucker. Oh, I gotta take my medicine. So it didn't make me disenchanted with religion then. It just made me perceptive of what's really going on behind the scenes, which made me question my faith. It made me question faith all the way around. And then also when I saw my mother get terminally ill, and I mean, I didn't know she was terminally ill, but when she got really sick, and she was a good woman who changed her life, and she prayed for healing. She was in church, both churches, every week, stomping, hollering, getting people to hold on to her liver and pray over her, and getting people to do healing sessions, and her helping people, and her just putting all of that shit into it, and still fucking die. At that time, it made me question my faith. And from that point forth, I didn't fuck with religion like that until I got to prison. And like most prisoners, I was alone. So I started searching. I started out in the Bible again, and I started going to church again. Then I started with Islam. I never practiced Islam, but I studied Islam. I went to Talim service. You can only go to Juma. You can go to Juma if you're Islamic, but anybody can go to Talim. And so I would go to Talim service, and I would listen to the message, and I resonated with the way that the Muslims spoke to you more than church. I resonated with the Muslim message more, but I never practice Islam. I practiced Christianity, but I never practiced Islam. I just studied it. Because when you go to the Islamic service or Talim, it's about accountability. Yes, there's God and faith and all this stuff, but it's your faith. If your shit is fucked up, you let yourself down. Your faith didn't let you down. You let yourself down. And it's a lot more accountable. But then me, I have to take it further. I went from regular Islam to studying the 5 percenters, which the 5% is all about knowledge of self. It's all about knowledge of self. The supreme science, the supreme mathematics, gods and earths. Earths being women. Women of color in particular. And gods being men. And men of color in particular. But I did not resonate, because I'm biracial, I did not resonate with the racial divide that it came with that. I really resonated with the supreme mathematics and the science and all the knowledge you had to know, and having to be able to cipher all this stuff that you knew, and really having to be on point or it being a problem. But I did not resonate with the racial message. I don't respect it, and I never will. Because I grew up understanding things from both perspectives. I saw the hate that black people have for white folks, and I saw that the thing that white people have over black folks. I saw the way that it was built up between people, and I saw that a lot of it is just fear and bullshit. Like there's a lot of fear and resentment that just builds in there. And so when you see that from a biracial perspective, you start to look at things differently because, like I said, my mother is a white woman, but a strong white woman. And not just because she's my mama, because that's who she is. And she was hip. She was hip. She was strong. She wasn't no pushover. She wasn't none of that. My uncles are white men, and they're good white men. They're not racist in the slightest bit. I don't know what my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandmother didn't act like that, but she did. I will say this: they never treated anybody differently in my eyes until I did different stuff. They never treated me like a nigger until I did some niggerish shit and started stealing from them and doing fuck shit that like they treated me like that because I acted like that. That's the truth of my experience. Now, I have been treated racially wrong, but I've also seen that go both ways. I've seen the discrimination that colored people feel towards white people, and I've seen the superiority that sometimes white people try to display over people of color. And it was all fear-based. I see people doing that now with sexuality, even astrology. Now they took it from just being racial divide. Now with Neptune and Pisces culture, they've taken it, and it's also about sexuality. I can't just not do what you do. I have to hate what you have going on. And that's stupid. That's where people take it now. I can't just not do what you do. Like, I can't just do my own thing, which would make perfect sense. Everybody should be able to do their own thing and live how they want to live. But instead, people also have to have resentment and hate towards what other people are doing, just because they fear judgment of what they're doing. So I saw all of that in those practices, and then I saw with the 5%, I just saw that besides all of that, it was based too much on the racial divide, so I couldn't practice it the way that I wanted to, which I really love the knowledge of. That's why, I mean, a lot of it, because I studied so much knowledge of self, and that led me through astrology and numerology, that knowledge of self, and really being able to know things. And so that took me away from that. And so I just arrived at a point to where I had to be just spiritually obstinate. And then I went through this awakening where I started having these experiences. I start to see things and realize things, and I start to, besides the knowledge that I had of self and all this stuff, I really started to see, I knew about astrology and numerology and all that shit, and I was on that. But when I started having my spiritual awakening, and I started having experiences that go beyond rational explanation, not just the psychedelic experiences that were induced by chemical substances, but also real spiritual experiences that I just like man, like this shit's overwhelmingly trying to get me to do something. Like I told y'all the story before of how I kind of got called into my spiritual awakening. I was already having these things going on, happening to me, but I couldn't explain it. Feelings and stuff I was going through. But then I went to this lady's house one night on drugs, on dope, to be exact. And she just told me so, like she just called me over there, and she was expecting me. I already had tarot cards out. And wasn't she didn't know me. We went over there to take dope over there. I was not. Nobody knew I was going over there. It was my birthday. She knew it was my birthday. She knew and expected me to be there. And I was just taking them drugs. And she wouldn't accept the drugs I took over there. I took the drugs over there. She told me all this stuff about myself and what I was supposed to do with my life. And then told me never to bring drugs back to her house again. And she still did drugs, but that wasn't for me. And that I was not allowed to, that everybody else that I was with was welcome to come back and do drugs and hang out, but I could not be there. Because of that was the spirit, like that wasn't for me. I was like, that was not for me. Told the lady I was with, do you know who you have with you? Told that lady that I was with, said, do you know who you have with you? She said, you need to take him home. You need to take him home. This is not for him. I don't care what he does, what he says, take him home. This is not for him. I'm there to make some money. I'm there to get high on drugs. It's my birthday. She flipped some cards on me. She read my palms. She told me stuff about myself that nobody else would know, but somebody who knew me for real, somebody that had access to my mother, and then told me, hey, you can take your dope, you can leave. It was nice meeting you. She was crying. She said, you can leave. She like I said, she told that girl, do you know who you have with you? And she's like, yeah, it's right. She's like, no. She's like, you need to take him home. This ain't for him. This life ain't for him. This is not for him. Take him home right now. I don't care what he says. Take him home. I didn't tell her nothing. She said he has a family. She told everything. She's like, he has a woman and a family and everything. I was with somebody else. Like, he has a woman, a family. Like, take him home. This is not for him. He's meant for something else. And took me home. I started trying to get high, doing dope. I'm dropping the pipe, breaking it. I caught a case. Like, where I had to stop doing the shit. Like, the universe did not fuck around with me. Hey, did I take that medicine? Somebody rewind back the video and tell me, did I take that medicine? Because I don't want to take an extra pill and kill myself. Did I take that medicine? Did y'all see me take a pill on here? Somebody needs to rewind for like 5 minutes and see if you see me take a pill. Please. I did take it? All right. So I'll take another one. It might be my last dose. All right, that's good. That's good. I just don't want to double up because that'll fuck me up. I mean, it might not kill me, but I'm scared of it. I'm scared of everything. But anyway. Yeah, I went through that spiritual awakening, man. And I tried to... I was trying to get high and ignore it and try to do that. And then I would have these overwhelming experiences where I'd be walking and like I would just get this sensation that would put me on my knees, like, ooh, like I could feel presences around me, and it wasn't me getting high on it. I wasn't on it, but I could feel it around me and like letting me know that it was whatever it was by me and it was there, and like this is not a test. Like, you motherfucker, you need to, whatever you got going on, you need to pay attention. Like, pay attention. It's like, pay attention. Like, and I'm like, man, like, leave me alone. I'm scared. Like, man, like, that shit was fucking crazy. Then I would go hide in the bathroom and try to get high on drugs. And I would turn on, what I used to do is, I would turn on YouTube videos out loud on a Bluetooth speaker so nobody would hear me flicking the lighter while I'm doing drugs, hiding in the bathroom. So I would turn on YouTube videos and I'd be sitting there trying to get high and the video would come on. 15 signs your spirit guide is trying to contact you. And I'd be like, I'd be sitting there trying to get, I'd be like, you hear it? Then I'd start listening. Then as I'm hearing the signs, I would be experiencing the signs as I'm hearing it. Like, motherfucker, do I have to lay it out for your ass? It was like that. Like, motherfucker, do I have to lay it out for you, motherfucker? Like, I'm trying to get your attention. And then I would go to my boy's house. I would drive my Suburban, or me and my lady Suburban out to my boy's house, and I would give him a ride. I wouldn't sell dope no more, but I would give him rides, and he would give me free shit. So I would just ride around, and I'd be sitting outside of his house waiting for him to come out. And while I'm sitting outside waiting on him to come out, I'll have that, and then I'll like something be talking to me, telling me spiritual like stuff to change my life and get like all this stuff, like move and do. And I would think I was going crazy. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I remember, like I told y'all before, I remember one point where I was sitting there and I was like, man, I asked myself, am I crazy? And whatever it was inside of me said, yeah, you are. But that doesn't mean this isn't real. Pay attention. And it wasn't like I was hearing voices. It was something inside of myself. I could feel it. I never heard anything audibly. I felt it inside of me, something saying something inside of me. But it was words, if that makes sense. It was inside of me, inside of here, not here. But it spoke to me in words. And I moved and I changed and I put all my life into a different perspective. And exactly 3 years ago, I started this channel. Matter of fact, on Halloween Day, it will be exactly 3 years since this channel started. I dropped my first video on Halloween Day 2020 on the blue moon in Taurus. I had a piece of paper. I'm standing up reading off a piece of paper. But I don't even know why I said all that. I was talking about my purpose and Sagittarius and all that shit. But it was fun to say. I don't even know why I went into that. That's that Mercury and Leo. But, yup. I dropped my first video 3 years ago. Came a long way. Hey, look. We got a hater in the mix. I'm gonna let him show. He said, buck teeth looking the ass, bro. Hey, bro, you ain't talented enough to go on your own channel and do your own shit. You had to come on here speaking about me. Let me tell you something about my buck tooth fast. Since we here and the moon is in Virgo, I'm gonna entertain you. I'm flyer than you. I'm more intelligent than you. Not only is my beautiful, successful wife in the other room, but there are also thousands of ladies here on this channel that love me. Bro, you fucking pathetic. For you to come on here speaking on me when I would never do anything but try to help you is fucking pathetic. I'm here helping people, talk about my life experiences. You want to come on here bumping your motherfucking gums. Talking out the side of your neck on YouTube. When knowing damn well if you saw me in person, you would never keep that tune. You don't know me like that. You let the smooth taste fool you. Don't play your motherfucking self. Get you a motherfucking hobby, homeboy. You fucking pathetic. I'm not feeding the negativity. I'm good. I'm smiling. Sometimes you gotta entertain. You understand? Anything negative that pops up on my feed, I have a choice to play it or not. Heather can tell you that. But like I said, the moon is in Virgo. The black moon Lilith is in Virgo. So if you can give it, you got to be able to take it, baby. It's still happy and positive. If you feel negative, I'm sorry. If I made you feel negative, ladies, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But me, I'm good. Every now and then, you got to let a motherfucker know. Go get you a hobby, homeboy. Homegirl, whatever you are. As a name exotic. Let's just say it like this. It might be exotic, but it would never be original. You come on here hating like everybody else. Get the fuck out of here. Hold up. Let me help you out, though. This is my favorite shit. Arrivederci, exotic. You will never be able to speak your mind on this channel again. You are forever banned from the Vibe tribe. Exiled. Exiled. You can always watch. See, that's the thing. This is what's beautiful. Let me tell y'all about. This brings me back to Memnoch the Devil, the book by Anne Rice that we talk about so often. Let me tell you what's so beautiful about her description of heaven and what makes so much sense about Memnoch, who is Satan or the devil or Lucifer, however you want to look at it. Right? Heaven is a harmonious thing. Whatever is in heaven on there, and there's so much, and I can't tell you the whole story of everything that's in heaven in the book, but everything that is in heaven is a part of everything else. The people, the souls, the angels, the structures, everything flows into everything else. It's like a beautiful thing that everything is flow in its way. It's hard to explain. You have to read the book because the way that she explains it is so beautiful that it brings a tear to my eye. The imagery she creates is a lot like What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, but it's different because everything is flow. The way she explains it is so it makes perfect sense of how heaven would be. Everything is so harmonious and everything is it's together and it's one, but everything is also has its own energetic place, as it is a part of everything else. The people, the structures, the energy, all of it is feeding off that same source of God, and it's joyous in that. It's grateful and it's joyous and it's celebrating, but also serving. Grateful, joyous, celebrating, serving, all at the same time. So everything is working and helping each other while everything is enjoying doing so. Right? And so, while this is going on, the devil, he's from there. Or it is from there. They is from there, whatever you want to call it. Because it's not a male. It has a masculine expression because that's how it projects, because it's a projection, but it's not male. It's not from Earth. It's not male or female. And so, and it's an energy. It's not a person. So it just chose a masculine projection. So we're going to say he because that's what it chose to come as. And so it is from heaven. It is of heaven. But it cannot be a part of heaven once it chose that it not to be. Once he questioned or chose not to be, it wasn't that he was just cast out. He's just no longer a part of heaven. He can go to heaven. He can communicate with the Creator. He can become one with the Creator and merge with the Creator. He can see and hear and feel everything in heaven, but he cannot be a part of it by his own choice. He cannot be a part of that joy and that celebration. And so that's where, exotic is sitting. You the devil. You see this love, this community, where we at with this? You can always see it, but you'll never be a part of it. Yes, y'all need to read that book, but it's just a beautiful explanation with that right there. Now, let me tell you how I once had one of my spiritual advisors explain heaven and hell. See, heaven and hell, it doesn't have to be physical places or even ways of beings. It can also be states of minds. So let me put you into the state of mind that is heaven and hell. See, hell is this place where there's 100 starved people. We're just going to say 100 so you can understand the scope. Where there's 100 starving people, starving on the point of death. Starving to the point where they'll do anything. Tied into a room, chained into a room in a circle. They can't really reach each other. They have a ladle tied to their arm in such a way that they can reach into the pot and pull food out of the pot because there is a boiling hot, steaming thing of stew right in the middle of the soup where all of these starving people are. Where they're all chained up. They can't reach it themselves with their hands. They can only reach it if they stretch with the ladle. But the ladle is tied in a way to their hand that they can pour it on themselves and burn themselves up. They can do this, but they cannot get it to their mouth. So they're spilling it. They're pissed off. It's fucking chaotic. They're so starving. They have what they need right there, but they can't get it. It's fucking, they start killing each other. I'll eat you. I'll fucking eat your ass. I'll beat you with this spoon and eat you. Right? That's hell. That's a mentality. See, heaven is the same place, the exact same situation, but everybody's full and everybody's happy and everybody's talking. You know why? Because they're feeding each other. No, they can't nurture themselves. No, they can't take it out of the spoon and pour. All they can do is pour it on themselves. But that spoon can easily feed the next person. So the much as they can beat them with it, they can feed them with it. And so each one of these people are happy because they have decided together we're going to feed each other. Everybody's full. Everybody is gonna be okay. It's a state of mind. It's not a way of being, it's an operation of existence. Which is just another way of saying way of being, but it's Libra season, and I like saying that fly shit. Yeah. How you like me now? We got another hour, though. So if anybody has any questions about their chart or anything that we spoke about or anything that we just going, I went in today, hey, I'm here. Or we can keep continuing to talk about whatever. We'll be back again tomorrow for the hump day vibe and a whole question and answer session. Tomorrow, I'm not even going to go over the transits. Tomorrow, I'm opening up the live and we answering questions right off the rip. Speaking of which, one rare bird, are you here? One rare bird, if you are here, speak up in the chat. Also, Remy Rains and Watkins Cat House. Remy Rains, you need to pick out if you want the numerology or if you want another one of those services. Watkins Cat House, I need your name, your maiden name, and I need to know the way that you spell your name now, and I need your birthday. All in an email so I can do your numerology reading. I need your maiden name, your full maiden name, first, middle, last. Then I need how you spell your name when you sign it now. It doesn't have to be however you sign your name now. I need to know how you sign it. And then I need your birthday for the numerology reading. And Remy Rains, if you want the numerology reading, I need that same information from you. One rare bird, I have already started recording your reading. I should finish that sometime today or tomorrow afternoon. You will have that by Thursday. And what, maybe way before that. Cynthia Renee, if you're here, I've already sent out your reading. You should get that. But yeah. Memnoch the Devil is a good book. It explains how Satan lost favor with God in the different ways, or Memnoch is his name in the book. But how he was cast out and why he was cast out. It explains, it takes you through the temptation and what the temptation really was, which was really interesting in the book. The way that she plays out the temptation in the book was very interesting. Like, man. Because it's basically like the devil, it wasn't like the devil went and tempted, he found Jesus and tempted Jesus. It was more or less like Memnoch has been cast out. Memnoch encounters Jesus and the devil, and he realizes that's fucking God in a human form. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And basically he's just like, man, this is not right. He's not cool with that. This is his creator. This is God. And it's like, also, to Memnoch, he's telling Jesus, like, you're faking it. Like, you still know you're you know that you're God. Like, you're telling these people this stuff, but you're not really being human. Because before Memnoch was cast out, he challenged God, the presence, to be human. He said, if you humans are dying. If you really love humans, be human. If you really care, be human and go experience human, because you don't know what it's like to die. You don't know what it's like. They know what it's like to die. You will never know what it's like to die. That's why he hated death. Memnoch, or the devil, hated death. All of the angels did. They questioned it, like, why are they dying? We don't die. You don't die. Matter doesn't. Why does matter die? We're energy. But why does matter die? They're matter. We're not matter. We can create matter, but we are not made of matter. We can draw matter to our form. We can use matter, but we are not of matter. Antimatter, whatever it is. It's very interesting scientifically in the book also. So why does matter die? Not just people, but matter. Fish. I think they were abhorred before it was even people. They started seeing cells die and people and animals die and plants, and they're like, well, what the fuck is this shit? Like, we don't die. Like, energy, they're beautiful. They loved it. They loved watching Earth as the creator was making this experiment, and all these wonders and all this evolution was going by, but time is different to them. So, or there is no time of them. It's not of the essence. So they just see this stuff happening as it happens, and they're wondrous by all the things that are happening, and they're mystified. And it's like this interesting place that's so different from the realm that they're from, or where they are, which is heaven, or whatever it is, that other side. And so they're watching this physical realm develop, and this organic stuff come to life, but it also dies. And and so the first thing that does, and then so when people come, of course, being enamored by beautiful things and sex and all that, a lot of the watchers or the angels came down and were mingling and watching people, and then basically Memnoch challenges God, like, hey man, like, they die, you don't die, you don't know what it's like. Like, be human. Go down there, be a human, live and die. So as he's walking in his exile from heaven on earth, where he's been exiled to, he encounters Jesus, who has the essence of God inside of him. And he senses it, sees it, understands it right off the rip, says, oh no, you're God. And once he talks to him, he realizes that Jesus is Jesus. He's in a human body, but he knows that he's God. God's son, God, whatever. He knows that. And so he's like, no, hell no. Like, first of all, you're cheating. You know you're God. Second of all, Jesus tells him, I'm going to let them kill me. Now you told me to experience death. Not only am I gonna experience death, I'm gonna tell them a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna get them to love me, and then I'm gonna get some people to love me, and then I'm gonna make some people hate me, and then I'm gonna let them kill me. And he says, hell no. You cast out of that body right fucking now. You're God. You're not letting no humans kill you. You look sick. Let me give you some bread. No, matter of fact, let's turn this whole shit. You can take over. Since you're God, let's just take over the world. Like, you can run the world. You're not letting anybody kill you. If you're doing that, you might as well be God then. You know you're God. You're not doing the experience. And so it's just like this temptation, like, nah, man, like, fuck that. And so it gives a whole different perspective, which is not real or real, whatever the fuck. That doesn't matter. It's just a story. But it then takes it through the crucifixion, and then from the, I don't want to tell the whole book, from the crucifixion, something happens. And then they go to hell, and then modern times. And back to the present, which leads to a whole different bunch of shit happening, where just like this religious trick where the devil pulls this religious trick, and the whole thing is like, what purpose does religion play in the book? First of all, in the game that is going on between the powers that be. Not just God and Satan, because we could label those names, different things. Whatever is playing around with this reality that we live in, or this earth that we live on, you have to ask yourself, what role were they using with religion? What if this really is a game? What if this reality really is just a simulation and it's just a game? And the only way to win for real is to accept. That's what's crazy. Think about that. That could be some crazy shit to think about. The only way to really win is to accept. Which people don't have faith. People question things. But for you to win the game after this life is to accept Christ as your Savior. That's how you win after this life. What if that? What if that's how? And you have to question, like, as crazy as that sounds. What if that's real? What if this is just a simulation, just a game, But the way that you really win, and that they told you to do it, but you didn't believe them. They told you. But you never really had the faith. You didn't really believe. That shit's a trip. What if even that's a part of the facade? A part of the game? It ultimately plays an important part in human development, no matter what your religion is. Even if you're an atheist, you had to develop a reasoning on why you're atheist. Why you choose to take a scientific approach. Why, like, there has to be some reason behind that, a belief system that you're developing. Science is still just following what you've been told. Wisdom is experience. Some people will never understand. I don't know about all of that, but the book is just crazy. The Morning Star, there's all those names that people give all this stuff, but I've never really, I really was into angelology because of the energetic work that I used to mess around with and the stuff that I really into. I was really into angelology, and specifically the archangels And so I really was into. I really love the theology behind it, and I really love the stories and the mythology behind angelology throughout the years. But as far as the devil and Lucifer, I think that's a concept more than an actual entity. When you talk about the devil, it's more of a concept than an entity. The devil is real because humanity is real. Desire is real. Greed is real. Jealousy is real. Anger is real. Resentment is real. But when you think about the Bible, you think about the Quran, you think about the Sanskrits, the ancient Vedic Sanskrit, the Torah. When you think about these books, a lot of them have central themes, and a lot of them are just people finding different ways to express healthy ways of you accessing human nature, and it's interpreted how you interpret it. And then people develop ritualistic practices off of such, which religion becomes based off of. When you think about that. But what it boils down to it's all about what you experience. What's my take on the mark of the beast? I'm not into that. I think it's bullshit. I believe in angels in a way, but I believe in them I believe them as being beings or energies of a different fabric than us. Exactly. Quantum physics and spirituality, they're both intertwined. But yeah, for me, I really do see I do see where I have to have things make sense for me to believe. That's why I have such a trust in astrology and numerology. And it's not because those are religious practices or spiritual destinations. No, these are tools. These are tools that you use to help gain understanding of what your spiritual belief system should be. And the thing is, it makes sense. But when you look at those and you think about the power of astrology and numerology, the accuracy when used correctly, the absolute uncanny accuracy, then you understand that that really is an algorithm for an energetic expression, which you are just an energetic expression. A moment in time, a thought, an idea, an ideal, a love, a desire. You derive from that. That's why I believe in the law of one makes sense to me. See, your birth chart is not just for you, it's for whatever was born at that exact moment of time that you were born in. an energetic expression, which you ended up being. At the moment of your conception, really. But ultimately, at the moment of birth, something came onto this plane that was a potent mix of energetic expressions. For me, that was Cancer and Pisces and Libra and Leo and Capricorn and all of this shit. Scorpio and all of this. Created this energetic expression that's me, but it's still a single energetic expression. My numerology, the numbers that are created from me, my name, all of that shit, it creates an energy. All of that potent mix, and then my numerology on top of that creates this energy that has a personality to it. An insatiable mind in its heart. That's what happens. So when you look at the astrology, the numerology of everything, it is an algorithm of an existence, an algorithm of an expression. As I told y'all when I first started this channel back then, if you make a sky map, which is possible to do, it's hard to get real true scope, but if you were to make a sky map, which people have done like at a planetarium, and you put tax in all of your placements on that sky map at the moment of your birth, which your placements just correlate with constellations and coordinates. So those tags do become coordinates. You take those coordinates, besides the signs that they're in, but the signs tell you the story of what the coordinates are. You take those coordinates, if were possible, and you put them on a line on a piece of paper. Then you take your numerology and you write out all of your equations. You realize you are nothing but an algorithm. Does that mean you're a computer program or this? Like, I don't know. But you are an algorithm. Your energy does have a formula to it. See, that's knowledge of self. That's the truth. Your energy, there is a science behind you. There is a formula to your energy. And us on this plane are time reflective, or we have time as a dimension. And time is important in your energetic expression, so you were created specifically for this plane. Your energy is for this plane. Now, if there is something that is outside of time that is also a part of your energy, that is possible. But that also would mean that you have to believe in quantum entanglement. Which, if this reality that we're living is just an energy hologram, then quantum entanglement makes the perfect sense. You are an avatar of something somewhere else. You're an avatar of an expression. Because once again, we all come from the one. Whether it's the one creator or the one thought, the one expression, the one love, the one desire. Even when you separate yourself from you. When you think about you, for you to be created, for you to be born, there had to be a desire. Whether it was a physical desire, which most of the time that's what happened with us, a sexual urge, a physical desire that led our parents into making love. They made love, we were born. Even for those of us that were born in situations that were volatile, like rapes and things like that. That person wanted something so bad, that rape, that desire, that resentment, whatever it was, it created something. There was an energy that was born from that, which is you, which you just have desires and thoughts, loves of your own. And ultimately, some of us create, whether it's creating things that people can admire or more energetic sources that keep creating more. But for all of that to come, it all starts from one single thought, one single desire, one single expression. Yeah. We on that shit today. We overthinking everything. It's Virgo moon. We overthinking existence. We overthinking relation. We doing everything today. It's the 29th degree of Libra. We overthinking everything.
Same. 90.
We'll focus tomorrow.
8.
We all in the algorithm of your existence, written out in the stars. Or we talk about you by the numbers. What's your coordinates? See, in order for you to exist, all those coordinates had to coordinate. So you have this body, but your body start messing up. You start having some issues with your program. Now, some things can be fixed, but sometimes something gets in there that is like it can manage for a while, but you got to get a new computer. New model. And you can carry over some data, but it will never be the same model that it was before. Once you switch models, it's never the same model. You carry over some data,
Same.
but it still is a different machine that operates differently.
8.
Even with reincarnation, you have to understand reincarnation. Most people say, "Oh, I'm past life," and that's cool, but when you die, your ass is dead. Whoever you are, that individual is dead. That energy that expressed that individual is still there. That data is still there. It still exists because energy doesn't die. The matter died. But it's not going to operate the same in a new model. That's the crushing reality. So you have some people who they find out or they hear, like even myself at first, I'm such an egotistical person that when I first heard about me being a master number 11 or me having a karmic debt 19, I felt a certain era of superiority. Like, oh, I was somebody in my previous life. I was royalty. I was powerful. I persecuted a lot of people and I fucked over a lot of people, but I was a king, and that makes all the more sense in my life. It makes my name make sense, and it makes all this shit make sense, and my ego got really, really caught up in it. When I didn't realize that shit really don't matter, except for the fact that because of that shit, now I'm fucked up in this life. Don't remember it. They bring none of it with me except the fucking karma. the residue. I'm not that anymore. So you have people that are like, I'm an indigo child, or I'm this, and I used to in my previous life. I found out that in my previous life I knew this person, and I was this person. You even have some people say, I heard that I was the Dalai Lama. I was this in my previous life. I was Teddy Roosevelt. That shit don't fucking matter because that's not who you are now. That shit doesn't mean shit. You telling me when you go to the hotel, they always give you the presidential suite now? They just know it's you? Shut the fuck up. That shit don't mean shit. Where you came from, whether it be this universe or another universe, who you were in a previous life, that shit don't matter. You have so many people like, I really come from the Andromeda galaxy. So the fuck what? You over here in the Milky Way now. And you got discharged. So what the fuck you gonna do? Like, people be tripping, man. Like y'all, and me myself, I also, like I said, you get caught up in ego in these spiritual labels, and that's one of the biggest tricks. Yes, the ultimate trump card. My spirit guides tell me. I have that Mercury in Leo, so I have it real bad about going on YouTube posts and correcting people anytime I feel like they're saying anything that's not what I feel is correct about astrology. So I'll go correct anybody, right? That's what I love to do, is go correct a motherfucker. And then I'll assert myself with like, no, I'm actually one of the most respected astrologers in the world. You really got me fucked up. I'll trump them card with that. But then you have some people, they'll hit you like, I don't give a fuck what you say. My spirit guides told me. And my spirit guides have direct access to the Akashic records. And I guarantee yours don't. And I'm like, damn, they know somebody who works in security? Like, shut the fuck up. We all get caught up in these labels these days. It's more about this fad. It's not about their knowledge of helping people. Yeah. People be tripping, man. But even myself, like I said, I used to get caught up in those same labels. Like, whoever I was in my previous life. Me, even sometimes being an old soul. Like, man, I'm an old soul. You know what I'm saying? So what? You didn't get it yet? I mean, your ass might be remedial. You might have one of the remedial souls. You done came back a whole bunch of times. You've been back this many times, your ass still ain't got the fucking lesson yet. Like, damn, bro. We got to get right on our path, man. Get away from the labels and get away from the expectations and get away from what people have built as far as facades, and just find our own personal inner purpose. Like, at the end of the day, this life right here, it is what you make it. It's what you make it. When you get done, shit, I don't know. Who knows? Nobody. There's not a human soul out there that can tell you what really happens when you're dead. They can speculate. Even those people that have near-death experiences, they wasn't dead, they was near-death experiences. But I do have a theory. Y'all want me to tell y'all my theory? First of all, you just died. But you also experience the afterlife forever, in a sense. Because at the moment of death, DMT floods your brain. Now, DMT is also what some believe to be what makes you dream when you're asleep. It is mixed with your melatonin. It does have something to do with your sleep process, DMT does. So maybe that's what makes you dream. But as you wake up and come out of dreams, the DMT either drains and you awake to this reality. You leave that reality or whatever that is, that subconscious way of existing, and then you come into this, right? But see, what happens is the chemical process stops in the middle. As you die, the DMT floods your brain, but it never drains. So you go into this dream, this facade, this fantasy, this afterlife. And you go into it forever because there is no sense of time because you die. Your consciousness stays there and the body dies. So whatever state that takes you to is where you go. But ultimately you still die because eventually that consciousness is lost in that moment. For that moment of time, and that the rest of that matter and energy disperse in its own way. So you live and you die, basically. But that would be that's what makes the most sense to me. That's not what that's what makes the most sense. Biologically. Spiritually also, in its own way. The Bible even says that, in its own way. Not what I just said about the DMT. But about when you die, like, the kingdom of heaven happens after judgment. After, when you die, your ass is dead. If you're not, why would they have to raise you for judgment? Not as pop culture people believe in movies. If you pay attention to the process in the Bible, when you die, you go to purgatory or that place, or you go to the Sheol or death, and then on Judgment Day is when your soul is judged, and you either go to the new reality, the new earth, heaven on earth, or wherever it is, or you get cast into the lake of fire. That's what happens. And the kingdom of heaven is smaller than the eye of a needle. But understand, the eye of a needle, and it's harder to get a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man or a person to get into the kingdom of heaven, is also said. But also understand, back in those days, the eye of a needle was not really the eye of a needle like we would think. Even though that is an imagery you put in your mind, getting a camel to go through the eye of a needle. The eye of a needle was the gates of a city. the eye of a needle was the gates of a city. But camels did not want to go in there. A lot of times people tied up their camels on the gates outside because the camel did not want to go into there. The chaos in there, the smell, whatever. And so you could pull them in there, but drag them, but trying to get a camel to go into the eye of a needle is almost impossible. It's possible to do physically, but getting the camel to go there is the problem. Now think about that spiritually. See, y'all have to really think about things from a deep perspective. It's physically possible. But even if you take it away and you think about an actual camel in the eye of a needle, a small needle, like a sewing needle. Think about it like this also. Physically, the way you think about it, it cannot make sense that a camel just cannot fit through the eye of a needle. But if you believe, your rational mind can't see how that could happen, could not understand it. But if you could have faith, the faith of a mustard seed, then why couldn't that or anything else be possible? We've seen great faith change grave situations. That's the thing. So you got to think about it like that. Like they have there's some tricky stuff in there, but you have to, as a person, sometimes, as far as religious or spiritual books, not just the Bible, but the Quran, the Torah, books about Shambhala, you have to listen to the message. You have to separate, and sometimes your rational mind can't separate what you're reading and what's possible, or what you're reading and and whether you understand it in a different way. So sometimes you have to read something several times, and sometimes you have to ruminate over something, or you have to let something really settle in your spirit for you to really grasp it spiritually. And so when I really get into those spiritual books, when I was doing my spiritual studying, I really like to get into that and really like to listen to the multi-layers of understanding behind each spiritual issue and each question that I have. Now, House of Lakim, Raw House of Intuition, you said, what, you are here to be Taurus Sun, North Node Taurus. That's your success in this life. Rohini Nakshatra, the artist, be the voice. You're absolutely right. My son is Moon in Rohini Nakshatra. Your son, I would go by your Moon Nakshatra to really look at who you are. But your purpose, your ascendant, your son, all of that's going to be incorporated. But Rohini is beautiful in its own way. Hey, y'all going to have to excuse me for 1 minute. I got to pee. And if y'all leave, I'm going to be mad, but I got to pee real fast. I'll be right back. But yeah, we back. We back. Damn, my shit lagging. Damn. I left my lighter in the bathroom, didn't I? This a bitch. Hey, hold up. I gotta get my lighter. Mega Elixir. Nice to meet you, by the way. Hold on. I'll be right back. I have no idea where my fucking lighter. Maybe it's in my jacket pocket. Yeah, it's in my jacket pocket. Y'all wish our sister Cheryl Gray safe travels on her way to Japan. She's going to the land of the rising sun to be a samurai. Yeah, she finna go drink sake. And say, sake to me, baby. You know, I'm a... Hey, did I miss anybody's questions? My bad. If I missed your question, my bad. I've been going too hard. For too long. Yeah, peace and well wishes. You have a Scorpio moon progressed into a Sagittarius moon right now, right? Well, that's just like a more positive time in your life, to be honest. When it's progressing to Sagittarius, yeah, you're looking for truth, but you're just in a lot more optimistic place, in a lot more positive place. And you're open to experiences. That's what that would mean for me, fundamentally. Let me show you. I never wear it to this side. It feels weird. My hat feels weird when I wear it to that side. Switch it up. That shit don't even look right on that side. Let me see. I gotta look at my camera down here. Hold on. Shaks Aka from Uzbekistan. Hey, that's actually my favorite country to say. Because I keep it cracking all the way from here to Uzbekistan. Shout out to everybody from the Yucatan to Uzbekistan. To Saskatchewan to Pakistan. What hand do I write with? My right hand. I'm right-handed. Extremely right-handed. Ain't nothing special about my left hand. Yeah. I'm right-handed. I'm eating a granola bar while we're here. Excuse me, y'all. I don't like to do it. I have the sun conjunct my ascendant. I'd love to be polite and all that shit, but I gotta eat. Sucks, AKA, what are you mad about? Don't come in here trolling and playing. I want to have to put you in exile. I love Uzbekistan. I have nothing but respect for anybody that's Uzbekistani. I might have some people out there. Much better. I just needed one. Yeah, I had to come with it. I don't know where it came from today. I don't even think I expected to talk about all of that today, but you got to go where the spirit leads you. And that's how I operate. Y'all need to go check out the Law of One, though, like I told you. Go check out the Law of One. Of course, go read Memnoch the Devil, but when you read Memnoch the Devil, don't, like I said, the story is important because it all mixes together, but the imagery is just important, and the story, because she had to do a lot of research behind that for her to even come up with that type of story that she comes up with. We already talked. Yeah, we talked about Anne Rice the whole time already. Like, that's of course my favorite, but yes. With Memnoch the Devil, the story is important with Lestat because of what's going on, and it leads you into what's happening, and it's all the trick. But spiritually, there are some very, very interesting insights in that book. Like that book, even in its own way, is a part of my spiritual awakening in its way. Years ago, I read Memnoch the Devil the first time when I was 16. I've read it 4 or 5 times in my life. I'm reading it again right now. But it does have it does, like, in my spiritual curiosity, it really piques some things in me. But I would go check that out. I would go watch the series here on YouTube about the Law of One. And hey, Lestat is Lestat. Lestat is the king of all the vampires. Lestat, you learn to love him. Lestat is a Leo. He's hard. I mean, he's Lestat. When you read Interview with the Vampire, it's from Louis' perspective. And Louis has very human emotions. Louis probably the most human of all the vampires, no matter how old he becomes and how strong he is. Louis has a very emotional nature. He's very sensitive. And Louis loves Lestat, but he resents Lestat also. So Interview with the Vampire, you're looking from Louis' perspective, but Louis still is only existing because of Lestat. I would say Louis, I don't know Louis' birthday, of course, but Louis is definitely very emotional. He's very sensitive and very emotional. Maybe a Scorpio. He's very morbid. He doesn't want to, he's very extreme. But he is family oriented too with Claudia. So he could be I would say he could be a Cancer too, Louis, but Louis is very sensitive. He's very emotional. He resents being a vampire like they all do in a way, but Lestat enjoys it. Louis doesn't enjoy it. Lestat, he might resent certain things because he loves people. He falls in love and builds these relationships with people, and he becomes caught up in drama, and he loves so deeply that he always wants to make. But Lestat also, like, he loves being a vampire. He enjoys being a vampire. He enjoys being Lestat, the vampire. Not only just being a vampire, but being the vampire Lestat. Like, there's something when you say, Lestat. When Lestat, there's something about him that he has this. And eventually he becomes the king, the prince. They call him the prince, but he eventually takes a male, which is the essence of all the vampires, inside of himself when Maharet gets killed. So when Maharet gets killed, who is the oldest of them, Lestat takes the essence of all vampires, the core, the fountain of all of them, which is like this web thing, into himself. Which makes him, of course, the most powerful one. But he's Lestat. You just have to understand. Like, I understand the dynamics just because I've read it so many times of each one of their characters. With David Lestat, with Marius, with Thorn, with Pandora, with Armand, with Maharet and Makari, which is her sister, and with Akasha and Inkle. And so I just, with me and my understanding of human nature, I became really enamored with how these characters developed over hundreds of years in those books. I think that has a lot to do with it. Is how they're still themselves, essentially personality, who they were as people, but their characters have refined. It takes a human nature that in a life that's really condensed, and it allows this person to develop this character over a longer period of time. So each one of the vampires, in comparison to humans, even though humans have an intense, more feeling nature, but each one of the vampires has an incredibly cultured nature to them. It's not like Twilight. It's like because they've been around, they've experienced and been so much. No matter what, each one of them has a very set, developed value system and cultured personality that each one of them have fostered. Yadab Official, what's up with it from Nepal? But yeah, all of that right there. I just, like I said, I get really caught up in those. What else did I used to read? When I was into fantasy books, also like the Bob Salvatore, the R.A. Salvatore, or the Bob Salvatore with the Dark Elves with Drizzt from Dungeons and Dragons, basically. But yeah, he's a Dark Elf. He's a Drow or a Drow. I don't know how they pronounce it. But I read a series with him. I used to read all types of books, man. Like as far as that, but I told you I would read one fantasy book, and then I would read a few chapters or a few however much of a spiritual book, and that's how I kind of balanced out a lot of my learning experience, because I love reading so much. So I would just read all of that. Of which changelings? Remy Reigns. I know all kinds of changelings, but of which changelings? And which series, which books are you referring to? You know, of course, I read all of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits, which really there's just the Hobbit and there's the Lord of the Rings series, but there's also the Silmarillion, which puts it all into perspective and explains the language and like that whole world of Middle Earth. And so I read those. But I also, when she talks like about changelings, I also read, I do a lot of research about like cryptids and yeah, aliens, cryptids, things like that people have sighted here on Earth, or people might have said they claim to encounter, like Bigfoot, like the Wendigo, like little people. I'm really into little people, which I don't know if a lot of y'all Native American people here, and I know there are a few natives here, about the little people. And the little people a lot of times go hand in hand with Bigfoot in their own way. Yeah, kind of like fairies a little bit, but like, yeah, little people are kind of, but sometimes they're not even like fairies. They're like smaller human people, but they have like, there's a certain enchantment or magic to them. There's just something, what are you talking about, Cheryl Gray? What are you thinking me for? But there's something like, I don't know, like they live in the woods or the mountains. They're the little people, or outside of reservations, and like the wee folk. Yeah, like leprechauns, the wee folk, and they might even be a human way, but they have a little something to them, and they're little, and they have a different, like when you're out and you're walking in the woods, or you might see one or encounter one, and they might trick you from going off trail and get you lost, or they might take you with them. Look, like little children report leaving with the little people, and they'll be gone for days. They're like, I've been gone with the little people, and they'll think they've been gone. They'll run home, and they're like, you've only been outside playing in the yard for 30 minutes. And they're like, no, I've been gone for days with the little people. I'm back. And they're like, no, you've been outside for 30 minutes. And it's the little people, the enchantments of the little people. And some Native Americans and some old school people in Appalachia here in America, they leave gifts for the little people, like tobacco or candy or little bitty bottles of alcohol and stuff like that for the little people, because that way the little people won't fuck with you while you're in their realm when you're hiking or stuff like that. They'll keep little pieces of candy, or a lot of people they'll think people are littering, but they would throw little pieces of candy or little packets of tobacco out, or cigarettes. They'll throw cigarettes out so that the little people can find them and get them and smoke them, because that way the little people won't confuse you. They're not going to kill you, but they won't confuse you or get you lost in the woods or in the mountains when you're hiking or whatever you're doing. So yeah, the little peoples really do their thing with that. And most of them are just mischievous, and they're just them. They're trying to keep you away from their wherever they live or whatever. So they trick you and do stuff. But some of them do have malicious. They're not trying to kill you, but they don't like people because of the way that humans are, or the way that people treat people or whatever. But you have these stories of people who will encounter a little person in there, whether it's the stories of them getting enchanted, or they'll sit down and talk to them Or I saw this little bitty person and they were dressed like old school, like a little kid. And I don't know if it was a little kid. I really can't tell if it was a little kid or an older person. But I saw him and I talked to him and like they talked to me and then like I don't know where they went. And they're like, oh, you encountered one of the little people. And it would be like that. And they'd be like, you better be careful. If you encountered a little person, it's for a reason. Either you were by them or they want something from you. Like, you better be careful. Doesn't mean they're going to kill you or anything like that. It just means, you know. And then, like I said, a lot of the times, the little people go hand in hand with Bigfoot. Bigfoot is like the big person, and they're like it's just Native American lore, or with old school lore of how Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, the Yeti, the cavemen in different forms, the rock apes in Vietnam, which they all have different names. Which there is literal accounts of soldiers being attacked by and rocks thrown at them by what they call rock apes or like Bigfoot type creatures in the Vietnam War. Like literal documentation of giants also. Big orange-haired giants. They found giants. And it's not just me believing in bullshit, but this is stuff that if you do enough research, you find out there's really not only credible stories, but actual evidence. Not physical evidence more of Bigfoot, but of giants and of little people in their own way. Because they have pictures of people with a whole bunch of little people from the woods and, you know, pygmies and things like that. There's actual, real documentation of true tribes of pygmies all over the world in different indigenous places. So why wouldn't there be pygmy people here in America, indigenous people, for whatever way, who have their own way of things? There's stories throughout time of of people or soldiers encountering, especially in mountain regions, encountering giants that come out of the caves or lead them into the caves, or in civilizations that live in inner earth inside of caves. People going into a cave or people going into a mountain and somebody telling them, hey, come over here, and they're following them and they're going into a place with people and there's a whole different civilization or there's a whole different fucking group of people there that they've never that they never knew existed. Like there's shit that really has been documented that people happen. So I really got into studying that type of stuff too. So I study all of that, but only with that stuff, like only real occurrences. I really only want to know if this is something that has some type of credibility to it. I'm looking for something with some type of credibility to it. Are we coming out playing? But, yeah. And then, of course, once you go through all of that, I studied all different types of energy work and witchcraft all over the world and all that type of stuff. Yeah, there's stories of in Thailand, in Vietnam, in the Himalayas of people going into the caves, or like I said, whole civilizations being in the caves, or reptilians, Nagas, or reptilians being in those caves. Now, I'm not a part of the reptilian conspiracy. I like to read about that. I think it's interesting. I do think it's interesting. I don't place a lot of stock in it. I'm eating a banana too, y'all. I've been here for 3.5 hours, 3 hours, over 3 hours, so I'm eating something. Can't eat a banana like I want to eat it in front of the camera, though. You gotta break it into pieces. Can't go out like no bitch. Yes, Uranus is in my 3rd house. Uranus and Neptune are in my 3rd house. Neptune actually helps me because it's in Capricorn, so it keeps me real, a little real. Sometimes too real, pessimistic. But yeah, I have Uranus and Sagittarius in my 3rd house and Neptune and Capricorn in my 3rd house. They're not conjunct. But yeah. And I always just understood stuff. That's Uranus and Sagittarius. But the problem is, you need facts behind what you know, or you won't understand it, or you won't believe it. Even the things that you know, you won't believe what you know yourself. So you know information behind it, or wisdom behind it. So through experiences and over time and through finding out truths, you get that. So your intuition actually has a basis to it, which allows you to really help with knowledge. I'm not going to look at your chart and say you're cursed, bro. Or fam. You can send me an email, and that's what I do, is read charts professionally. I can't wait to do so. But that's not how I do it. I've seen too many charts. I'm never impressed by anybody's chart. I find things interesting in people's charts, but I'm never impressed. But yeah, man. You need to read. I don't care what you do. What do you mean eating banana by themselves? I just ate two. Don't scare me. I'm not trying to read. Tell me what you think about banana. I like eating bananas. When I was going through my whole and I mean I'm still going through it, but when I was really going through the digestive issues at first, like those bananas are what saved my life. Like shit. It's the only thing that I knew wasn't gonna fuck my stomach up. So, and sometimes if I have acid indigestion or something, if I eat a banana, it calms it down immediately. So I'm a big banana guy. Do you like big bananas? Don't get me in trouble. Well, just tell me what it means, Tina Clara Marie. I'm not gonna go read about bananas. I don't like reading about bananas. I like reading about other shit. How do you find where Chiron is located in your chart? You get a reading from me, or you go, and I'll tell you because you need to know specifically, or you go do a Chiron calculator. They should have a Chiron calculator. Or just go do a chart at astro.com, and they'll include Chiron. Chiron is one of the things that's going to naturally be included. Now you got me curious. You said, have I read about eating bananas by themselves? Well, tell me what you mean. I mean, I eat bananas. Tell me exactly what you mean. I love bananas. Don't believe everything you hear, but okay. I ate it with granola bars. It'll be all right. Hey, it's my pleasure. We've been here for over 3 hours today. We're going for about 20 more minutes, and then I'm out. We'll be back at some point tomorrow. Rich Wealthy, let me hold something. I know you rich. You wealthy. I need to borrow about 600 till February. Yeah. Just a little 600 ain't gonna hurt you nothing. You rich, you wealthy. Just a little 600. We'll call it an investment. Check it out. Anything that calls out to you, check it out. If anything, it's interesting and it brings you another realm of understanding or another perspective of looking at things. Yeah, Rich Wealthy. We had a lot of people come and go through the Vibe Tribe. There's some people that have stayed fundamentally, but we've had some people over the years that came for a little bit. They'll ride for 6 months. They dip out. We're trying to keep you rich and wealthy. My bad, my chat got disconnected. I love y'all. Thank y'all. I wasn't able to come yesterday because the Dallas Cowboys lost. I was sick yesterday, man. The way the Cowboys got whooped so goddamn bad like that. And if you make any jokes or anything, I will block your ass. Like, seriously. I don't play. I play about the Cowboys. You don't play with me about the Cowboys. I fight, slap niggas, everything about the Cowboys. Don't ever talk shit about the Dallas Cowboys on my channel. But this is some fucking bullshit. Like, this shit was crazy. No, I had readings to do yesterday, for real. I had readings to do yesterday, for real. Hey, I need some business. I need somebody to hit that cash app for me right now. So, what's what we gonna do? We got some more questions? I need to make some money today. I need to. For real. I got Venus square to Saturn in my second house. I ain't making some money, man. I'm not playing about needing to make some money, but I'm playing about the scratching. Anybody else have any questions about the chart or anything like that? Hold on. Where did I learn astrology from? Where do you learn, or where did I learn? Are you asking me where can you learn, or where did I learn personally? Because there's not a singular source. I've been to school, but I also study for myself. I also have, I mean, there's just, I've developed things. I'm in, you know, it's been over almost 20 years now of me studying and being into astrology, but as far as really studying it in depth and practicing, close to a decade. But different sources, several different sources. You can't have just one source, or you'll be too single-minded in your approach, and you won't develop your own understanding. You'll just be copying someone else. So I really looked at things a whole bunch of different ways and got a whole bunch of different perspectives, and then developed my own methods from that. But I've learned astrology. I mean, it's just different sources over 2 decades. But you know, from different classes, and one academy as far as a Vedic academy, to books, to listening and studying with other astrologers, to developing my own understanding over time and studying things myself. Once I knew the fundamentals and started looking at charts and started breaking it down, and then developing my own way of understanding things, my own self, basically. And I just happened to be the best. One of them, anyway. One of them. But it's not been an easy journey. It's been, like I said, it's taken almost 2 decades. Be 2 decades next year since I really started studying astrology, but in depth for 10 years since I got out of prison. I went from being really into astrology to really studying it and practicing it. Just like most people, when I learned, well, back then especially, when I learned a new type of astrology or a new house system or something, I immediately went and searched what it was about and what my placements were and what other people's placements were, and then I researched it and got obsessed with it, and then, you know, so just like everybody else, that's how it was back then. But then when I really realized I had a gift of understanding, that's when I really started studying it in depth and taking classes and really trying to figure out my own formula for me developing my own understanding, which I'm willing to teach. I'm thinking about taking on 3 exclusive clients. I had someone ask me recently, but for whatever reason, I guess they're not wanting to do it at this time or whatever. But for those of you that want to learn and are ready to take classes for real, I'm looking to take on 3 pupils that I'm going to personally tutor and teach and foster. But only 3. And I'm not going to have a class or an academy. I'm going to have 3 pupils. 3 exclusive pupils that I'm going to give something priceless to. And I'm not giving it to you because you got to pay for it, but you know what I mean. But once something is available to everybody, it's no longer priceless. It's cheap. It's easily accessible. So, what I do is teach you what I know and help you see how I understand it, why I understand it like that. And then you can develop your own understanding from there. Yeah. So any of y'all that think you want to be one of the 3, get at me. I'll let y'all know when I have my 3. It ain't gonna be cheap because it's priceless. I'm gonna tell you now. And what we would do is meet a couple of times a week, Zoom or a phone call, depending on what the preferences or what the subject is. We can do both, depending on what's going on. And then together I'll be able to show you and work out things. Even if I have to print things out on the printer or send files that you can study yourself. And there will be homework, there'll be charts to study and things that stick out, and there'll be all of that stuff to where you can really get your own. I was worried about developing a curriculum before, but the curriculum will play itself out how it's supposed to. Because I never developed my knowledge through a set curriculum. It took a whole realm of developing an understanding over a period of time. But now that I have my way of understanding, I can explain how I see it quickly. So anybody that's interested, y'all send me an email at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And it ain't for me, it's for you, baby. It ain't for me, it's for you. Who? You. Can you do that? And that's only for the next. Well, I got time because my kids are at school before the holidays. I'm only going to be accepting this in the next month. So you got a month within the next month to get at me. And I'm taking the first 3. Once you get at me, I tell you the price. If you accept, you don't accept. Somebody else has already gotten the price, a few of y'all. But once you get the price, if you accept, you accept. If not, you pass, that's fine. Once I get my 3, that's it. There's no negotiation, no, this is something you're paying for, but I'm gifting you with. So, let me know. Like Kim Ra, House of Intuition. I actually do PlUtO through Aquarius transit journey readings, where I would look at PlUtO and what it's going to do from everything it does in Aquarius to all of your personal planets. That's one of the services that I actually offer right now, both through phone call or Zoom or just a recorded version. And that's just me looking at PlUto's transit through Aquarius over the next 20 years and all the aspects it's going to make to your personal planets, and us addressing those, and us even looking at the dates, specific dates or relative time frames that this will be happening, so we will know and you'll be able to note those. And that'll be big, because that way you'll know when each aspect is going to be really going down for you throughout the next 20 years of your life. So yeah, get at me. You already know the drill. And when I get my 3, I ain't, unless they want, if they want me to tell y'all who they are, I would tell y'all they're my pupils. I've decided to take them on as my pupils. If they would rather do it anonymously, we would do it anonymously. But I was thinking that when I get my 3, and we're not going to have class at the same time. Each one is going to be individual sessions, individual tutoring. And that way also, no matter what happens, my legacy continues. No matter what happens to me, the legacy of what I've done here, it continues. Because I was your instructor, your guru. And then you become gurus for someone else, and you help them discover that part, and you give them the knowledge. Even when you, because the game is to be sold and not told, so I don't expect it to be free. Especially if you consider yourself a professional. Once I make you my pupil, if you decide you're going to pursue this professionally in your way, which that doesn't mean it has to be your main profession, but you can definitely profit from when we get done. If I got to print you out a goddamn certificate myself from the Priceless Academy, we'll do it. But either way, we'll get you through. Then you can do your own practice with your own understanding from that point forth. Whenever you feel comfortable enough in your knowledge to do so, even if it's just confirmations. But that also is the legacy of where you got this from continuing. Because hopefully through you be accepting you as a pupil, you are agreeing to at least take on one person, 2, 3 people yourself as a pupil. And I might accept somebody again in my life, but for right now, I'm only going to take 3 clients, 3 pupils. And that's the only people I'm going to give this knowledge that I have to. Which, it's about astrology, numerology, but I also have a special way of understanding things. And there's some awesome astrologers, but I've yet to meet one better at what I do. There's some that are great at what they do, and they do something different than what I do, so they're awesome. Better than me, better than I ever could be at what they do, because I don't do what they do. But when it comes to what I do, y'all see me in action, intuitively. For those of y'all that have got a reading for me, you see how I come across with that, but I can sit here for hours and answer off the cuff. Come from the brain, channel it for hours on end and answer rapid fire questions about charts all day long. I ain't seen nobody else do it like that. So, it's up to you. Are you going to be one of the 3? I mean that. I've been thinking about it. I mean that. That's legacy. I didn't. 13 Moon Lily, I seen you just email me. I can't see the email. I just know that it was you that emailed me. I will address that as soon as the live is over. Here in about 15, 20, whoever knows. Won't be longer than 30 minutes. I've tried to be more humble, but humility ain't never been my strong suit. I'm very, very good at what I do, or I wouldn't do it. My ego is like that. I don't like doing stuff that I'm not the best. That's how it is. That's why I couldn't get rich when it came to my music career. I had a record deal. We were signed to a major label, but when it comes to marketing and doing the things that it took as far as advertising us and as putting ourselves out there marketing, I just couldn't meet my fulfillments. And it's because I didn't really care about selling 100,000 or 1 million albums. I cared about being the best rapper. So when I could rap around the guys that I looked up to rapping around in Texas, as far as like Slim Thug and Face and Kiki and ESG and the people that I had been around at certain different times, and Magno and Chameleonaire and them dudes, and when I could rap around them and they could say, hey bro, you got something. Like, you cold, bro. Like, that meant something to me. It didn't matter how much, if I sold any records or any of that shit, so for me, it was about being good, being the best, and motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, hey, like being the best kept secret was even something to me. Like motherfuckers not knowing that hey, he can make beats better than and rap better than just about any of y'all motherfuckers. Any of y'all will eat you up on the motherfucking mic. Whether it be with Reasons, which is a program, or whether it be with the MPC and a motherfucking keyboard, I can just sit down right there and make a beat that will blow your motherfucking wig back. No, you're not gonna hear my music on the internet. You will only hear it here. I mean, unless one day I decide to start selling beats, but no. The problem is I'm better than my worth. I don't have a name. Here's the truth. When it comes to my beats, I don't rap anymore. When it comes to my beats, I'm better than my name. My name is not popular, so I would have to sell my beats by the bundle. As cold as I am, I would have to take my beats and sell them by the bundle, or sell them 40, lease them $40, $50 a pop to people. When I'm not that. I'm cold enough where my shit is legit. And so because I'm not ever gonna get paid what I'm worth to me, what it's worth to me, I just don't sell them. That's the truth. Not just because it's priceless and that's the cliche, but because the fact of the matter is I don't have the name to make what my beats are worth. And so for that, I keep them to myself and I keep it on the price list too. And so as my name blows up here, here's what's funny. As my name and people hear this and they know that besides this, and people know that some of the shit I make is mine. And they're like, hey man, he really gonna be making a beat. He really a co-producer too. Like, then that word of mouth also becomes one of those best kept secret type things. To where eventually I might have, hey bro, I'll pay you whatever you want from that motherfucker. Whatever you want. And then when that day comes, that's cool. Like with Darkness. I've had some amazing offers for Darkness, but not what it's worth to me. But I could see something one day trending in that direction after so many people have heard it and so many people are like, hey, you know what? This is what it's worth. And if it changes my life and changes my family's life, then that's possible. But if it's not that, then it's not worth it to me. And I would never sell myself short. Because I don't make beats anymore. I haven't made a beat in 2 years, 2.5 years. And so I don't even have the equipment anymore. And so for those things, that is something that it's not something that I'm going to keep making. I am the fountain and I am creative and I could keep making more beats, but I'm not going to. It's not my purpose. So those ones that I do have, they have a whole different value attached to them now. It's something that is extremely exclusive. It's very valuable to me. And it's also something that could prove profitable moving forward. So I just keep it to myself. That's what it is. Like Kim Raw, House of Intuition, what's funny to you? But yeah, it'll never be what it's worth to me. I don't have, that's not, I mean, I think that's just not my path, so I don't know if I'll ever be successful in that way. I'm grateful for it all. It's a trip, but I mean, like I said, that was a moment. A lot of those beats I made when I was on drugs, to be honest with you, and when I was coming out of a drug addiction, and when I was in the back room of my house, hiding that I was in addiction from my family, but also like that was the way that my soul was screaming out. And I have all this personality, but because of the drugs I was on, it was trapped inside of my head with my ADHD nature. And so that's the way I was expressing myself, was through the music. And I don't know if I could ever catch that vibe again. Like even for rap, the way I rap is a certain way. There's a part of me that the rap is a contact sport for me. So for me to rap, it's hard for me to rap about positive things and emotions and stuff like that. That's something that's very personal for me. So when I do rap, my bravado comes out. That Venus and Leo comes out. So I start talking about shit that I'm not anymore. So it's not authentic anymore. So that's why I don't rap. It's because I can rap better than just about anybody, but I'm not talking about a lifestyle that I live. And that's the only thing my mind is going to automatically, when I start rapping, go to that. And so until I could get into a spiritual place where I could rap about spiritual things and all that, and that would be something that was so, like, that's not me. But when I pull the pen out, when I start rapping, it brings a different bravado. It brings a character out in me that my Pisces moon and my Venus and Leo feeds into. And so it brings out a certain bravado that is just natural because of the time that I grew up in rapping. And I can rap about, y'all have heard me rap about real stuff and stuff on here. But there's also a certain edge and a certain negativity that rapping brings out of me. It brings out a certain ego that I choose not to indulge in a lot of the time. Like I live different characters. I play different characters in my life. And the rapper character is a different dude. The rapper character fucks around with a whole bunch of females and gangbangs and exploits people and all of that shit. That's the rapper. Because if I rap it because I'm me, I gotta do it. I can't just rap it, I gotta do it. So it's just something I try not to indulge with. Maybe one day, but not right now. That's a different part of my character that I choose. And I rap for y'all every now and then when I'm catching that vibe, but it's still, I start crying because it brings something else out of me. It brings something else out of me. And it's like the rapper and the producer are two different people. Like the producer is introspective and expressive in a way, but the rapper is a motherfucker. And the astrologer is something else. This teacher that I am in this way is something else too. And that's also that's another part of a character. I'm not like this that I am with y'all, like with everybody. Let me see another list right here. Hold on. Let me find another. I want to find me another playlist. But yeah, there's a multi-layered individual before you. But when you hear this tag, when you hear that, damn, that's me. You if you hear anybody else on that, you fucking take that shit. You tell them I don't. That's my tag. When it says damn, that's me. That's my tag. It's a copyright thing. Just like you hear him, oh boy, or this is Jay the producer. That's their shit. Mine is damn. That right there, that's me. You hear that hi-hat? That's where you start at. For anybody who started to make the beat, that's where I start at. The snare or the hi-hat. That's what I do with that. But yeah, that's where you start with that. Then you add the clap. Now this has been broken down. There's stuff taken out. This has been edited at the end. Like this is the final product. But fundamentally you're gonna build up the loop first. For those of y'all that don't know how to make a beat, you're gonna build up a loop first. So you're gonna get the fundamental melody, you're gonna get the fundamental beat, and then you'll start adding instruments or sounds or samples. And then once you have that loop, you'll go in and add in verses and breakdowns in it for how you want it to be orchestrated or how you want it to be formatted for people to record to it. And then you'll have engineers can themselves take sounds out and change things around once it's been recorded on. That's why you would send it to a producer or an engineer in a multi-track format. So whatever they need to work with in it will be taking it out. I'm pretty cold with it. We're gonna come back and answer questions all day tomorrow too. But I gotta make some fucking money today. Yeah. It's different shit. This ain't mine. This is. I was tweaking this night. I made that one. That's just, I was tweaking that night. I'll never forget that night. Came from that drug addict mind. kind of thought. It was fun. It was fun time though. See, that's a sample. Yeah, we finna go in about 15 minutes. That'd be 4 hours. That's that Halloween vibe. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I'm fucking with it. This too. That has pain in it. Beats, you could go in too. I already know. I got some of your shit. I feel like I can never go that hard again though. That's why I don't make it like that. I was on drugs, man. I was on everything. Everything for real. Cocaine, acid, methamphetamine. I was in that Pisces moon vibe. Yeah, that rock vibe to it. I played this on the P. I don't need a ghostwriter. I write. Do all of that on the keyboard. You ain't even got to do all. I mean, beats can tell you all of this is done on the keyboard. Just making different instruments come out of the keyboard. Once you can play the piano, you can do anything. My bad. Always. That shit's a trip. by yourself, it's only you. That's that feeling inside of yourself right there. Like, that's what this is right here. It's like the quiet. When the quiet starts to eat at you. And your brain takes off. It does something to you. But I mean, I take a lot of concepts from classical music also. I play runs from that I know from classical music in my shit too also. Don't ever forget that. That run right there. Really, all music is copying stuff from old stuff. You hear something, if you can play it the way you've heard it before, but then add something to it, it makes a new sound or it makes a new tune. So you know, samples or you playing something you've heard and redoing it into a different way. It's all reformulating patterns. Music is always the patterns. Once you understand the patterns, you're able to really create from those patterns. You take those patterns and then you add different patterns from different formulas to it, and it's just a repetitive, because that's all your beat is doing initially is making patterns. You're making patterns, and whether you can see it on the wavelength form on your screen when you're creating beats, as Beats by Best Blown Out Music or A1 Smoke could tell you, or whether you seeing the patterns while you are actually playing them, whether it be through a computer program or through an MPC or drum machine or like such. You're gonna create a bassist pattern with the hi-hats or the highs, and then you might add a snare or you might add a kick or a bass in there. And then once you get formulated from there, you just try different things, and once you hit on a pattern that goes with that or something that sounds accurate with that, then you just switch up the pattern. So everything is just it's about layering patterns on top of patterns. See, a lot of people say, oh, I can't make beats. Well, once you understand what you're doing, a lot of people can. It doesn't mean you're going to be a great producer, but fundamentally for me, it's just easy for me because I understand patterns and I can play the piano. And so once I've heard something before and I can figure out how to play it again, or if I can get access to the music to it, I just go from there. So you're just making that sound like you're taking your keyboard and making that sound, in essence, like a guitar or like a gondolin. Beats, are you still here? Beats by Bless Zone Out Music, are you still here? Hey, y'all need to go check out Beats. Beats has his own channel. I'm supposed to have been playing it, but I always go to sipping through his music, and I don't know if I'm going to play something that's going to get copyrighted on my channel. And I don't want to share my money with him. So I do have to be careful, but this hat is getting on my nerves. But hey, explain to these people it's just patterns, bro. I don't know how else to explain. Like when you're making beats, it's patterns. I mean, once you know how to do certain things, and you expand your realm of knowledge. It depends on what you know how to do and where you started at and what equipment you started with. Like that's important too, because some people are essentially doing a lot of sampling, which you can use different types of things to rip sounds from different platforms or from different types of formats. Which now they use computer programs for most everything. But back then you would use a record player, or you would, you know, and you would take certain sounds and you would play it through this right here, and then you would essentially take the piece that you wanted, find it, then isolate it, and then take it and record it over a new track into some different equipment. And it took an insane amount of equipment to do so. And then came MPCs and stuff like that, to where you could do most of it with just a keyboard and that. And then came computer programs where you could just pick stuff out, pick sounds out, and build them together. And then you have people like Fruity Loops and all that stuff like that. Yeah. And I mean, some people are adding sounds and creativity, but a lot of it, and you're right, but a lot of what people are doing, like myself, is I'm making my own stuff, but I'm playing stuff I've heard before. I'm taking different pieces of things that I've heard before and making it in something new. You're assimilating old parts into something that's unique and new. You get what I'm saying? It's taking the ability to assemble old parts into a new way and making something new with it. Yeah, I use MPC also, or I did. But you know, the old school drum machines, that's how I learned. It was a drum machine back in the early 2000s. But yeah, watching another producer is fucking around on the keyboard with the drum machines. And then he showed me also through a program called Reasons how to fuck around too. Especially with samples, if you're willing to pay for them and if you can get them authenticated. Hey, Beats by PlUtO Music got something. But hey, I'm finna go, y'all. I appreciate your love and support. Hey, I need some business. If you ain't gonna shoot me no business, everybody. I love you. If you love me, go shoot me $5 on CashApp right now. I need it. Go, like, it supported this live, this session. Damn it. It's not even a joke. If not, shoot me some business. Damn it. I've been here for 4 hours imparting knowledge, talking and things. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. So I love you. I appreciate your support. If you're interested in any astrological readings, get at me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. If you fuck with me for real, let me know. I appreciate everything. Y'all stay out the way. Y'all keep it real. Till next time, we out.